Hello everyone and welcome back to Cormundum Chaos with WhatTeamComp. I am your host, the Uncommon Guru, and we are back. We're back! Back again, once again. Continuing our escapades in Wave Break, where we are once again gathered together with our good friends, starting with Zarkwarts, who is playing the human paladin Aurelius.
Man is not happy about the circumstances.
Good. That means I'm doing my job right. Mary, who is playing the human fighter Genevieve, aka Fidget.
Hello. I'm the reason we're here.
Yes. Paris, who is playing the Azamar barbarian Serenity. and Kendall, who is playing the half-elf artificer wizard Artemis.
Hello.
All right. No regrets. I would hope not.
I love this group.
When we last left off, the arrival to Wavebreak overall seems to have gone smoothly, for the most part. They were able to turn in the rows, find a place to stay, see some interactions between Velinor and one of Fidget's old friends, Tank, and get a meeting with the current leader of Wavebreak, Iceberg, and begin the trial.
Well, she just accepted it right when we ended.
Yes. She accepted right when it ended. I was getting to that. Don't worry, we're getting to that.
Wah.
Leading up to that point was the introduction to the party of Van Sterling, who made sure that the trial was accepted before rescinding his liking of Fidget, which he had apparently done, allegedly, in order to ensure that no one else would attempt to take her out because he believes her to be innocent. So he says. And with the accepting of a trial of endurance, Iceberg looks between the lot of you and has a deep, hearty laugh. Seems to be enjoying that. Alright, so, remember, you have the whole walk of the city. Can't leave it, can't go in the ocean, no hiding like that. 3 days, starting dawn tomorrow. So you have, around a day to prepare. You might have allies who join you along the way, but that's neither here nor there. What I'm interested in... shoot. Go on, shoot. I don't need you here anymore. You go take care of yourselves. Ladies, please! And he motions over, and you see them pull out, like, a board with a number of different markings on it. And these women quickly start writing down things, one being day 1, one being day 2, one being day 3, one being complete, one being different times of day. He's like, for everyone else in our illustrious audience, we'll begin the bidding on when we think she's going to be caught and fail. All right, let's hear it.
Fucking kidding me.
Oh, hush. Business is business. Now go on. And Van Sterling looks to you and
Fucking
makes a motion.
She mumbles as she starts down the way.
Yeah. Van Sterling motions to her and then looks to the rest of you, appraises you for a moment, and then makes another motion for you all to follow, as he walks less ahead of and more beside Fidget out of this area.
Take a second to stare at the people.
Mm-hmm.
I am memorizing each and every one of their faces.
It's a lot of people.
The big ones that have all spoken.
Okay. So you're trying to gauge people like Iceberg and such like that. Fair enough.
Can Artemis see any more copies in the crowd?
Make a perception check.
27.
With a 27, looking
Damn.
around, at the moment, with everyone else, kind of all the different commotion and whatnot, you do not see any other copies. Which could just mean that there's only the one, but even just that one, you can be on edge as much as you wish.
She's on edge.
Fidget will look up at Von Sterling as they're walking, and kind of her shoulders are going to slump just a bit from the tension she's been holding, and just kind of sigh, going, Are you on my side for this?
I've always been on your side. Just a matter of how much of my hands I can get on things and make things right.
Forgive me, my memories of you have been twisted. I thought you hated us.
It sounds like a D'Artes thing to put in people's minds.
I thought you hated me and Tank.
That he motions over as he's walking up the stairs, and the rest of the group kind of they don't move to join you so much as they move to almost like move on either side and almost walk almost like an honor guard around your group. And he just keeps motioning for you to follow, just still walking. That
He's staying by his side.
That we will be able to discuss later. This is the sort of thing that I'd prefer us to not have to be among future allies and enemies.
Do I survive?
You survived 2 years on your own, and you're asking if 3 days amongst people who are meant to hunt and kill you is going to be an issue. Have a little faith in yourself.
I don't know who to trust.
He keeps.
That's the problem.
He looks down at you, then looks forward, and he doesn't say this while looking at you, but you get the sense that that moment of eye contact is still almost lingering despite him not looking at you.
Okay.
If you got no one else to fall back on, trust yourself. You are your greatest ally.
The ones that I came in with, I trust. I meant the collective who might see it in their best interest to help me. I don't know if I trust them.
Don't. They have their own agendas. You have yours. Your agenda is to survive. Simple as that.
Understood, sir.
He leads you out, and there is a carriage waiting, and the Kenku who drove you in at the first time is just kind of like sitting there, just kind of watching. And when he kind of looks up and he realizes that there is no driver, he kind of like looks to Van Sterling like with a confused, curious, like, where's the driver going? He just kind of pauses, looks around, sees the driver's not there, and just looks to him, motions, and just like, get on it, Falcon. I need to go to the trust. Oh, yes, sir. And he jumps up waits for you all to get in, and sets you all on your way.
Fidget will lead the way into the carriage.
Yeah. So yeah, you're in the carriage. Simple enough. No one talks, and there seems to be an unspoken let the moment sink in vibe as Fidget and your group sit on one side, and your collective counterparts sit across from you, with Van Sterling sitting at the head.
Fidget's eyes do not leave the one who was staring at her during the trial.
He's leaning back a lot more. You wouldn't say calm. Calm's a very terrible word to describe this man. He's ready, but his posture seems to be more at ease, like he is fine with where things are at the moment.
He doesn't say anything. She just keeps her eyes on him.
Of course. It takes
Once in a while, it's flicking to the person who she can't place. The man with the slick back black hair. Her eyes keep flicking over to him.
Yep. There's about 5 to 10 minutes of travel before that man actually kind of like looks around slowly and goes, "Whew! Now, if I didn't know any better, I'd think that this was all real intense. Here, tell you what. Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you all. He points at Artemis, and I have already met. Sorry for the guys." And he waves his hand, and you see a shimmer across his face. And it ripples out and kind of dispels after a couple seconds as you see the dark-skinned face of Jinx. The tiefling horn is poking out, and he smiles. Me. Sorry for all the keeping on faces
That's
and whatnot.
Jinx.
Hi, I'm
I told
Jinx.
you about Jinx.
Yeah.
Kind of saw him when he saved me from the people that kidnapped me.
Dreadful
When
thing.
he transforms into his actual guise, Fidget looks like she's trying to crawl out of the carriage, and fast.
Then Sterling places a hand on your shoulder and pushes you back down very slowly. Just kind of makes a motion of just calm. He doesn't say it. He just motions. Just.
Fucking midnight.
Oh, come on. I have always been your friend. You never liked
What's your
me.
name?
It's my collective title. My name is Jinx. You can call me Jinx all you want, but Midnight is what the collective call me.
Again, as black as midnight.
Yeah, I don't like it myself. It's very on the nose.
And Babyface wasn't.
Hey, I still think that was a very unnecessary name myself. You said you had a new name, Fidget? I like that better. It says that you're on your toes, ready to do-si-doze and such like that. I like that. That's a good name.
Watch as Fidget's whole demeanor changes and she shrinks into her seat and her eyes are on the floor.
Again, there's a whole lot of stuff going on between Coravin and here, but that's, again, neither here nor there. It's so good to see you again, Artemis. Are you doing well?
Yes, I'm
Oh, and you...
about to be my friend from being killed in an endurance trial, apparently.
Yeah, she picked endurance. Honestly, best one she could have picked. You are literally sitting amongst people who can make this a little easier. Oh, sorry. Don't worry. He holds up his hands, Van Sterling, like, kind of tilts his chin. Like, it's almost imperceptible, except to Artemis, who catches it at the corner. It's very just light twitch, but immediately his hands go up like, I'm not saying just yet. Of course, we're going to wait till we're more appropriate accommodations, boss. But yeah, no, it's oh, and who is this lovely friend next to you? Motioning to Serenity.
Oh, I'm sorry. Repeat the question.
Who is this lovely friend next to you? Motioning to Serenity, asking Artemis to introduce them.
She's gonna arches her eyebrow while looking at them.
Artemis has tensed up a little bit because has Fidget mentioned midnight?
Multiple times, and it's never been a good thing coming out of her mouth.
Okay, yeah. Because Artemis is looking at him very assessingly, like she's calculating a threat. Because she knows that he can fight.
Mm-hmm.
She knows what he's capable of because of what he did when he rescued her.
He is the reason that Fidget is trying to act like she is 2 feet tall and invisible in her seat.
Yeah, she caught that. Were you following her when you rescued me?
Oh no, I saw you and I followed you. I had no idea she was there. Honest.
Hold up.
Insight
You
roll.
know what check is coming.
Insight roll.
Now Artemis is doing an insight roll.
Sure.
Aurelius sees nothing out of the ordinary.
Aurelius isn't sure what to think.
This man is
Wait,
strange. Good roll.
Aurelius is too busy trying to figure out what type of tiefling he is.
That honestly does make sense.
Yeah, I'm not going to do the roll, so because
No
I know
worries.
what's going on.
No worries. It's weird because you don't just believe him. That's not how that works. But when he looks to Fidget and he says that we're friends, when he's looking to you all, he's like, I had no idea. He looks and he feels like he's being genuine. But maybe it's the undercut of what Fidget has told you of them that makes it so that you look at him and you can't gauge fully how much you trust what he's saying and how much he is being genuine. He's a wild card. I still did not catch your name, miss.
this is Serenity.
Pleasure. You can call me Jinx or Midnight. I do not care which. Pleasure. And
I
you're
don't know what to call you other than a potential threat.
also good, but not today. Actually, not for the next couple days. I'm on your side, remember?
Wait, you're going to help me?
Of course. You may not have seen us as friends, but I personally saw us as friends. In fact, you want to know how much of friends we are? Tell you what.
Enlighten me.
They wiggle their fingers and they go, a 1, a 2, a 3, and they reach into their cloak, pull out a tube. They hold it out, and they hold it out as though it's somehow significant. And they look at you like, oh no, you're supposed to. Here. Twists it and opens it, and you can see there's paper inside of it. He reaches a thumb in, and he actually struggles a little bit with it. As he hold on, don't want to rip any of this. And he pulls it out. He has to kind of uncurl it and kind of crease it because it's been in a tube for a bit. And he holds it out to you.
Does he do the thing where he tries to hold it out and then it flicks back into
Yes.
itself? So he has to.
Yes, and he has to.
Is there writing on it?
Yes.
She'll glare at him going, you know better.
Sorry, would one of you like to read this for her? It has been 2 years. I thought you'd have picked up on that since we weren't allowed.
Artemis will
basics.
take one of the rocks in her bag and just kind of flick it at him. Take the thing to read Fidget.
Okay. You'll flick a rock at him.
Yes.
He's throwing something at him.
It bonks him in the head. He's like, ah! Here, you read it then. And
Aurelius
you get.
catches the rock.
sure.
That's what you get. You know why you get that.
I'd be insulted, but
Good.
that I thought that she'd had more time to learn. My bad. So you look at the papers. And the papers are mostly pretty clear as you kind of look through them. You look it over. And it's like a good number of papers. This stretches on at least 5 years, minimum. And as you're looking it over, it's very clear what you're reading is a list of jobs. And each of them have a person's name written on it. Babyface. A lot of them have Babyface and Tankard, but some of them also have Midnight, Silvertongue added to it as well, with Razors added to it. Just a number of names, all with those names on it. You, with the ability to read that Fidget did not have, look it over and you note nothing immediately out of the way. However, as you're going through it, you note that there is something that is circled on each one. Payment. And as you're looking through the last of them, and you're doing this really quickly. You're not trying to like read through each and every action that has occurred. You're just trying to get an idea of what is being meant by this. And as you're getting,
And even if she wanted to, she would be able to because of her merits that she has.
True. And as you're getting towards like the back end of it, you see Midnight like slapping the tube and getting a final paper out and pulling it out and holding it to you. You take it, you look it over. This is not words. This is numbers. It is apparently an additive as well as a subtraction of a secondary number, a much smaller number as you're looking it over. It means nothing to you, but the number that it comes up with is big enough for anyone who would be working for that long. It is several thousand gold pieces worth.
Is this all she wasn't paid?
Indeed, indeed.
It looks like the collective is indebted to her.
D'Artez is indebted to her. D'Artez is the one who had his hands in the cookie jar, skimming off the top, taken from the people
Then
who...
why isn't he the one suffering from this?
Because unfortunately, he's currently in Corvin, and we can't exactly reach into his pocket and take away what's his. He reaches into
I was
a
thinking
pocket.
more of taking away a limb.
Oh, see, that's the thing,
Two.
Adi.
Yep.
Adi, this whole thing is because the collective thinks I killed D'Artez's son.
Yep.
Well, his son wouldn't be enough to pay off all this debt that he owes you.
You're
Now
right.
would he?
2 years and running and such like that. Being away from companions, whether you like us or not. I understand you think I'm crazy. But actually, no. Crazy's crazy. I'm Midnight. sorry. The joke never
What's
gets
he
old.
doing anyways?
Wait a minute.
How
Wait a
is
minute.
Crazy?
They're doing
Did
good.
you say crazy with a capital C?
Yes.
You know
What's
a
he
crazy?
look like? Yes.
I know a crazy.
They got odd ears. We know they're like half elven of some sort, but their ears are a little bit funky. They like
Artemis will tug down her scarf and pull back her hood and just get really close to him for a minute.
to wear. Ooh, hi.
What does he look like?
Kind of gently puts a finger on your nose, puts you back just a smidge. Hold on, I'm getting to it. I'm describing them. I'm not trying to be fancy with my words. I'm trying to be artistic so you can see their face. Alright?
She doesn't do artistic.
She
Get
doesn't?
to the point.
Oh. I don't know your name either. I'll get to that. Hold on, don't worry. I'm not losing track of things. Younger in terms of elves is here or there. Youngish man, masculine at least. They like to wear these lensed goggles. They made a sling that looks like a crossbow. But it doesn't have the bow part.
Where is he?
Oh, he's here.
Where?
Remember how we're going to a special little place? You might get to meet him.
Artemis looks very nervous all of a sudden.
How many are here from the old group?
Well, there's
She's
me.
not looking at him.
Yeah.
She's looking at Von Sterling.
Well, there's me, and Von Sterling just kind of lets him talk and ramble. He labels off a couple different people, but his voice kind of feels like a background noise of someone who has lost all the attention and is still talking to hear the sound of his own voice. Very much how you remember it being. And after he kind of finishes up and whatnot, Von Sterling kind of exhales slowly. I thought it prudent that if we were going to be going into something dangerous, potentially sparking a war between what D'Artez is doing and people in Cormundum, we make sure that things are taken care of in an appropriate manner. So we brought in a few helping hands who we feel are clean of too much D'Artez's meddling. Crazy, well, no one can really pin down crazy. Let's leave it at that. The others, either they were friendly with you enough, or they were friendly with... Kind of pauses and looks to the rest of the group. Friends of friends.
Anyone else that maybe I need to know about being here?
In terms of danger or in terms of assistance?
Quote unquote friends.
Let's use the term allies.
Allies. Good word.
That does work too. You know the group I was with, Von Sterling. Are any of them here? I mean, besides Tank and Razor.
Are there any other elves?
There's at least one other elf. Bloom. I don't think you met her. Fidget.
Was she after I left?
No, she was before, but she was working in a different division.
I mean,
Different part of Corvin.
understandable. What was she? Or what is she? If that makes more sense.
Shadow.
Ah, okay.
She takes care
You see
of
Aurelius.
Hmm?
You see Aurelius just like trying to comprehend all this terminology.
Words
Like
are
he's
thrown
doing his
around.
best not to like draw attention to his confusion. He's just trying to like, yep, gotcha.
What's your name, young man?
I am the renegade.
Your real name.
No.
Oh,
Renegade. A shadow is a bodyguard. They keep the person who acts as the head of a group safe.
So a sentinel.
Another word for it. You stick to them like their shadow. That helped clear things
Aurelius
up.
goes back to looking over his sword.
He takes that as you understand enough.
The mention of shadow, Fidget's eyes finally meet Razor's for the first time.
Razor looks... He looks like Razor, and that's always felt to you like the least descriptive way to describe this man. But at the same time, it is how you can describe him. He keeps a good face. He keeps himself very clearly the person who is there, but you're not supposed to look at him. You're not supposed to notice him.
Understandable. She just kind of gives a nod of her head to him before her attention goes back to Von Sterling.
We did have to split into a second group. Jinx might be along the way with the second one.
And at that, Fidget's eyes get large, going, Jinx is here?
I need a
And she'll
friend,
look at
yes.
Artemis. Yeah. Fidget will look at Artemis, going, remember how I was confused when you mentioned the name Jinx? There's actually a collective member named Jinx.
So this Jinx is Midnight, and then there's another person called Jinx.
Yeah!
There's
Just so I'm getting
Midnight
this
and
correct.
there's Jinx. Right, Midnight?
Correct.
See Aurelius rubbing his eyes.
I wish I could. I
Yeah.
wish you could see, because I do shit my character's doing. I was genuinely rubbing around my eye.
Look, if it helps you, you can call me Midnight. I will not hold it against you.
Everyone else is target 1, target 2, target 3.
Bullseye.
Maybe I should help with the introduction, since Midnight's a little long-winded.
Oh.
And she'll point to the half-orc, going, you've already met Tank. Next to him, now you know Midnight.
Hey!
The red
Wish
Yeah,
I-
the cowboy.
Aurelius just kind of mumbles, wish I didn't.
The redhead who's keeping silent, that's Razor. And the one who seems a little too relaxed, everyone meets Silver Tongue.
And these all are people that are going to be trying to kill you, or are they helping you?
According to them, they're helping me. And she's
Did-
glaring at Silver Tongue.
What
Did you-
does
Serena
help
has her
mean to
hand-
them?
Did you
Yeah,
ever mention the name Silvertongue to Aurelius?
Yes, she has mentioned that is her ex, her emotionally abusive ex-boyfriend.
Serenity has her hand on the sword. Carriage, right?
Oh, wait,
We
no.
are in a
Yes,
carriage.
you're in a carriage.
We are in a carriage. Please
We
wait
can
till we get
see.
out of the carriage.
You can see the flames coming from the corners of her mouth.
Aurelius isn't
Fun.
saying or drawing attention to anything, but his attention to his sword seems to grow.
Mm-hmm. As
Your
you have-
reputation precedes your silver.
He glances to you and he looks back over to Serenity and he sees the little sparks around your mouth. And he just kind of pauses for a second as he just kind of stares at it, looks up to your eyes, and just kind of like leans back. And as he does so, the shadows behind him seem to suddenly pull forward and become almost more real in a larger spectrum, like tendrils reaching out from behind him as he locks eyes with you and says, "Now, I understand that you're..." Sorry, that's the wrong word. That's the wrong accent.
Aurelius cuts him off immediately. Shut up. Wait till we get to the location. And his eyes are something else.
Mm-hmm.
Artemis is staring at Midnight as she pulls back up her scarf and pulls her hood back up.
He's holding up
She's
his hands.
just trying to
like,
wrap her head around everything.
Yeah, he's holding up his hands like, all right, whoa, hey, everybody chill.
She's not.
chill."
She's just tired and staring at the person that she was pretty sure she had an idea of, and now no.
I have an idea. No, this is not what I was expecting.
As
You
far
can
as
have us
a,
get to the area now
Yeah, no
after
worries,
it's
yeah.
done.
As
I like to think it's a tense silence for the rest of the trip.
Yeah, it is. The only person who seems to be completely unaware of the tenseness is Midnight.
Yeah, Artemis is just kind of
Yeah.
rubbing her thumb across the face of the clock, just as in a nervous gesture.
One
Actually, there's a point with that. I need to get the name.
Once Aurelius is content with the state of his sword, he will return it to his sheath, and then return that to his back whenever they get out of the cart.
Yep. As you rub your thumb across the clock, you hear Darren just kind of go, "It's all right. We'll be fine. We'll just stay calm. I don't understand what all this is, but clearly, they're up shit creek without a paddle, and like the others, like just have their normal stuff. There is, with your perception, a reaction from Razor. As Razor kind of pauses and he kind of like looks towards the window and like looks out it behind. As he's looking down the street for a second before he shakes his head slowly, looks over to Von Sterling, who kind of gives him this look of just like, everything okay? And Razor just gives a very short nod of just like, making sure nobody's following us.
What'd you see?
I don't know. Wasn't anything I saw. I heard someone behind us. With Collective, you never know. Someone could be trying to hold on to the bottom of the carriage, and we won't know until they try to slide up in. Well, usually we don't. Taps the bottom, and you hear a distinct clunk, clunk.
Now Aurelius is keeping an eye out.
Of course.
Right.
I could set them on fire when we get there, it's fine.
I'd recommend not putting the cart on fire.
Yeah,
Yes, but once
please.
we're off of it, it's free game.
I mean, yeah.
They can't touch me until tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes,
can.
but people don't always obey rules. And I don't
There's
trust
also
them.
nothing
I don't
against
know them.
following you.
If they don't
That is
obey the
actually-
rules, hold on, pardon. Quick thing. Hi, Midnight here. Don't worry. The thing is that you want to know why people will follow the rules? It's because if they don't, the betting pool is null and void, and everyone gets to be pissed. The betting pool is Iceberg's way of giving y'all insurance that we get till at least dawn to breathe, and then after that, everyone's against everyone. It's not just them against you, it's them against everyone. Everyone wants a piece of that sweet, sweet monetary pie. And
How
those
big
who are...
is my bounty? How big is it?
It doesn't matter how big your bounty is anymore. What matters now is who can claim the bounty and lord over the title of the one who caught the renegade. Well, babyface is what they would be saying, but it's Fidget now. Fidget, right? I'm saying that right?
He says the renegade, and Aurelius looks up like,
Sorry, I didn't know you were calling yourself Renegade before I came up with that. Now I feel like I gotta change that, man. Hey, Razor, what sort of name do you think that I should go with? Razor looks at him slowly with this look that's just like, I couldn't care less. You're right, I should think on this.
Artemis is going to kind of rub her clock again, just kind of mutter to herself. Tyven's
Do you ever need to
part
take-
of this.
hold on, I need to make a meme.
Do you ever need to take a breath, Midnight?
Looks at you dead in the eyes. No.
I'm sorry, I made such an asshole of a character for you guys to have fun with.
She says
I like
something
him.
in Celestial.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Now I have to check things.
I don't
He
think he
needs to
does.
check as to what understands it.
I don't think he does.
I don't think he does, no, but...
I think he's checking everyone.
Yes! I don't think any of them do. There is the one other person who kind of raises their hand after a moment, and Von Sterling nods to her as she goes, hi? I know you, but I don't think you know me. I'd say...
New, right?
Yeah, still get my bearings and my legs and whatnot, but not sure what exactly I'm going with. You can call me Ember.
Fidget's quiet for a moment and looks her over before tilting her head to the side, going, "You're the new hammer."
New is realistically more so that they needed someone to fill in the slot while you were gone, and I just happened to be available.
She nods her head, but she's still studying her. Can I roll an insight check on Ember?
Yes.
Huh?
You can, yes. I said yes.
Your microphone didn't pick it up for me.
Yes.
And I don't notice much.
There's a face that you can kind of see. One that you recognize as being someone who is anxious, but has the hammer mentality of, I'm going to break something. I'm okay with breaking something. I can do that. Someone who's focusing on what they can do rather than what they cannot.
She gives a nod, kind of going, okay.
After a couple seconds, you guys feel like a bit of a boom as you move into an area. It goes very dark, and you hear the sound of doors being closed. Then you hear just a...
As it gets dark, Aurelius's corruption that is still on his face still glows in the dark. It's not a prominent glow, but it's enough where it's noticeable.
I will say that you don't notice who focuses on it, but you feel like some people are observing you curiously.
Well, I mean, it is dark, and he
Yes.
can't see shit.
Right,
Yes.
you are bioluminescent.
You are bioluminescent, but it's still dark, and you're still human with bad human eyes.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I might have misheard because for some reason my brain is hard out of focus right now. Are we out the carriage?
No, you are
We're still in-
pulling into
we're-
the trust.
We're
The-
still
Inquire.
inside.
Yeah, the knock was them knocking on the door to let you know you'd arrive at your destination.
Okay.
Yes, don't worry. The door is opened for you, and the steps are laid out as Falcon motions for you to step out, with Von Sterling stepping out first, looking around, nodding, and motioning for everyone to follow after.
Fidget follows right after Von Sterling.
Ernie's behind Silver Tongue.
Fair. You all step out, and it looks like you're in like a warehouse sort of area. And it feels empty. It's got a lot of shelvings and such like that. A lot of stuff that gives the impression that this place is meant to be busy, but it's quiet. It's empty. And Von Sterling walks right through, ignoring pretty much everything. You see there's like stuff on shelves and stuff like that. He ignores it all. Keeps walking. Goes. Yep.
If everyone's getting out of the carriage at this point,
Yes.
Aurelius just wants to do the like kind of sentinel watcher scan of the area to see if there's anything he should be concerned about.
Perception.
He is
Ready
on
for
edge.
hostiles.
Man is
Artemis
on
wants
edge.
to check under the cart since they mentioned it in the cart.
Go ahead.
Fidget has walked away.
You make a perception check. You check quickly under the carriage. There is no one there.
Should I do disadvantage, or if it's still
Yes.
dark, or
It is still dark,
All right.
so it would be with disadvantage.
all right? I needed to be sure.
Good question.
Oh, it's too scary. It's so dark.
It's not that it's too scary. It's that as you're looking around, you're not jumping at shadows. You're just kind of moving to keep yourself close to her because you don't know where anyone could come out. There's like aisles that anyone could slip through and attack from anywhere else. You're just kind of like,
Can I get a look around?
Make a perception check with disadvantage. It's still dark. I do know you have dark
But I
vision.
can see in the dark.
Yes.
Aurelius
So-
still has his he's ready for anything at this point.
Let her finish.
So do you still want me to do a disadvantage?
Yes.
There's a bug on my computer.
Gross.
Why isn't it coming up?
I don't know. It's probably just taking a moment to load.
But it loaded up to the text messages already.
Weird. Hit it again.
Weird.
I've hit it
It
twice.
might just be... Oh, fuck.
Oh, there it is.
There it is! Oh.
So,
Holy shit!
you look around, and this place is built in a way that makes it so there's a lot of those corners and movements, and it almost feels like this place is where the wind will hit it and cause this very faint creaking perpetually. This place is a noise box as well as a sight box that is meant to confuse and befuddle. But with what you're able to gather quickly, because you're still trying to follow along, this place doesn't appear to have anyone else currently besides yourselves in this current area. You are safe
Yeah,
for the moment.
Fidget has not left Von Sterling's side since he
Got out.
got out of the carriage.
And Razor's like behind and to the side slightly, doing his part. But you eventually get to a point where Von Sterling like stands and stops very pointedly and takes a cane and just kind of slams it down on the floor once, waits. A minute passes, kind of rocks his shoulders slowly, slams the cane down again. Another moment passes, slams it twice. Tank. Yeah. He walks over. You see him like reach down. There's a very thin grip that he can get. Very difficult to do so. But you see Tank just lean down and just kind of pry open a trap door. And there's a person who's just like sitting there like munching on some food who looks up with the most bewildered look as Von Sterling looks down at him. Just with this look that's just like, really? And he kind of like slowly hunched down, just like, just got back from my break. I'm sorry. Walks
What's he
past
look
him.
like?
He's a goblin. Wearing like a thick, almost looks to be like a plated helmet. Wearing a big scarf that has been pulled down to start chewing on and looks to be a big piece of chicken. Probably chicken leg from the look of it. They just kind of like scrunch up like, sorry. Rips a piece of chicken off.
Artemis will give him a little wave as they walk past.
Gives a little wave back. You make your way down, and as they reach up and they pull the trapdoor back closed, and it takes a little bit of like extra effort to pull it closed because Tank had to kind of force it open. But with that extra bit of closing it, you guys go down slightly. It's a very thin. You're gonna have to be less side by side and more walking, almost 2 by 2 at most. You get to a corner and you turn, and as you go through the thing that was coming out of the shadows and such, no. Oh, yeah. Not that you can see currently. You just saw it just coming from the shadows behind him. Was the best way I could describe that.
I know if I can spot like flickers of it in his shadow, but fair enough.
Oh, like that? Sometimes you swear you see it, but you're not sure how much of that is you projecting that you want to see it and how much of it is actually there. It's difficult to say. I will say that because you are like close to him, occasionally you swear you can smell the seawater, but you are also still near the ocean, so it's hard again to try and gauge what is in your head and what is real.
Fair enough.
But as you turn that corner, you being up front, Fidget, we'll see first that it goes to a set of stairs that goes down like 2-3 steps and then opens up expansively. And there's a number of just people who are just taking care of different bits of business, taking care of different things. You can hear the sound of people like sparring off in a corner, the sound of people testing out stuff. You hear a distinct sound of someone saying, "If you drop that, I swear I will not clean up the mess that is you when it's done. Please don't drop it." Slowly, as you look over, you can just see this person who has like no eyebrows. Clearly they have been through a lot. As this other person just like holding with like 2 pincers another bottle as they're trying very slowly to pour in a liquid that as soon as you see a little drop go in, they kind of both hold their breath and it just kind of changes color slowly. It's like, again, drip, again, drip.
Fidget is going to walk a little ahead of Von Sterling and survey the area before looking at him going, "You brought everyone."
It was high time that I removed myself from under D'Artes. He wasn't listening to me anymore. He didn't want someone to be making sure that his actions were in order, and after I had to kill the 3rd person he sent after me, I started getting the impression he didn't want me around permanently.
After the meeting, after this whole trial is done, you need to tell me where you're gonna be stationed.
Let's make sure you get through the trial then. He kind of notices Artemis go off. He like looks as though he's considering whether or not he's going to like try and call her over and just like let her have her
Fidget
moment.
just shakes her head. Yeah, Fidget just shakes her head going, "Trust me, of the group, she's the one you want over there."
Fair. Artemis, you go up to them and they kind of like look at you and they like have a 5th drop that goes in and the solution changes a 2nd color, and as it does so they hold their breath again. They kind of slowly put it back down as they kind of look at it like, okay, I think it's good. I think we just need to put it on heat for like about a minute. Should be fine. Hi. Who are
What
you?
are you making?
Oh, we're making...
I'm Artemis.
Brushes their hands on their coat. Their hands are completely impeccably clean. They brush it off in their cloak. You see their shirt just gets cleaner as they do it, and they hold out their hand. Hi, I'm clean. It's a nervous habit.
Nice to meet you. Clean. She'll shake his hand.
Shakes your hand, pauses for a second, takes his other hand, just like rubs the back of your hand, like You can feel it. He's prestidigitating any grime or dirt off your hand. Just like sorry, again, nervous habit. Nice to meet you.
You're fine. You're fine.
Does Aurelius see this at a distance?
At a distance, yeah. It's
Yeah.
It's interesting just watch.
Is it obvious that it's prestidigitation?
Mm-hmm.
Aurelius
just
just
see- You can see Artemis getting like a little bit cleaner each time he does it.
Aurelius just kind of like looks away so his hood isn't so that it's out of the corner of his eye, and he just mumbles to himself, "Remind me to stay away from them. Not for my sake."
So what are you doing over here?
I am making a potion. One that takes a little bit of time to do. Over to the heat, please, and hands it to their assistant, who goes off and puts it on the heat. Making a potion of invisibility. It doesn't really work really well, unfortunately. Mostly because a good potion of invisibility should keep you invisible when you're doing stuff, but it acts like the spell does, where if you make a violent action, it suddenly pops you out of it somehow, which is completely and utterly foolish.
Can I see the documents you have? I mean the paperwork you've done on it? Maybe I can make some suggestions.
Here he turns it around and kind of pauses, and he seems to think for a second. He's like, "Oh, are you with Babyface?"
Yes, I'm with Fidget.
Oh, is that what she's going by now? Okay, Fidget. So you're TikTok. Good to know.
I'm what?
You're TikTok. You're the one with the clocks.
Yes.
The nerd.
Yes.
Good. Then you will be invaluable. Take a look at some of these. He shows you a couple of different papers. As though what he said made complete sense.
She's just rolling with it, but she shoots a look back at Fidget like, "Did you tell them I was a nerd and that my name was TikTok?"
You didn't hear what he said,
Fidget
so you
didn't
see.
give the name.
Yeah,
Fidget doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Fidget didn't give the nicknames.
Yep.
Aurelius
I'm
is
just gonna look over the
just
papers.
staying as close to everyone else as possible at the moment.
Of course. As you move through, there's a person sitting at like a little desk who's like going over a few different things, and Van Sterling steps up to it, and they kind of pause in their little workings and look up to him. Mr. Van Sterling, sir, how can I be of assistance? He reaches over to Midnight, who pulls out all of the documents again and hands it to him. You don't remember giving him back the documents. He hands it to Van Sterling, who hands it off to them, looks back to Midnight, who does a little magic trick thing and pulls out another tube, opens it up, and pulls out more papers to hand to him. And he sets those on the desk and he slides them off so that the numbers at the bottom of the final page are very apparent. The person looks at it for a moment, pauses, very quickly seems to be doing math. You would guess she's probably a platinum as well. And she seems to be struggling to process what she's looking at before she looks up and is like, what is it you're wanting me to do with this, sir? We're beginning a trial of endurance. I'm going to give them a few things. I just need your permission to do so. What sort of things? You're going to open the doors to me. Sir, I'm not sure if there is anything that is too much. I will cover it. Sir?
On Sterling, sir? If that's what I think those numbers were with what Adi was saying, can I cover it for the group?
It's dependent upon what you look for while you're in there. If it is too much,
I can at least help.
you are covering it. Don't get me wrong. I'm anticipating some people having eyes bigger than their stomachs sometimes. This is your chance to take control again.
You mean I get something besides my longsword?
He motions for you to follow, pauses and looks back to her and just says, "Open the doors." And she looks down at the numbers, shakes her head, and reaches into a drawer and pulls out a paper and pulls out a stamp. And when she hits it on the paper and pulls it away, you see that it is a set of doors, is the symbol on the stamp. And she offers it to Van Sterling. He motions for you all to follow you, pausing for a second and looking back towards Artemis, looking to the rest of you like,
She's with us.
"I'm aware she's with you. Do you wish to go get her?"
Give me a sec.
Aurelius
Fidget
whistles at Artemis.
No, Fidget's already
I'm
jogging.
here, sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry,
no,
I'm here.
Fidget's jogging over to Artemis, kind of going, Ari, we're gonna get some upgrades to help us for the next couple of days.
Okay,
Do you want? Come on.
I'm going to see if I can get some of this invisibility potion.
Just I'm covering for you guys with what you're getting.
Just gonna kind of squint at her.
Those numbers you saw?
Yes.
Well, that's the amount I'm spending on you guys.
But you're keeping some for yourself, right?
I'm getting upgraded too.
Okay, good.
Come on. Before Aurelius keeps whistling at us.
He's whistling at us?
He whistled
I'm
at
not a dog!
us. Oh.
She looks over at Aurelius. I'm not a dog!
Aurelius
goodness.
shrugs. You gonna come over or what?
She's
In a
over.
minute, I want to see this.
Aurelius
Still looking
just-
over paperwork.
As she looks back, Aurelius just shrugs and goes into the room at this point.
Mhm.
If she's not a dog, then she's a cat, and there's no point negotiating with a cat.
Don't worry. You make a good black sheep, and she makes a very pretty cat.
Aurelius looks over and raises a brow.
What, you didn't know that you were called
What?
black sheep?
The fuck is a black sheep?
Well, consider this. You're not exactly a sheep. Oh, wait, no. Boss, can I please? I want to tell him. Can I tell him, please?
Is this midnight?
This is midnight. Obviously, it's midnight.
Okay.
As
Wanted
Ben
to make sure.
Ben Sterling just gives him a very slow nod as he turns back. He looks ecstatic to tell Aurelius this. And Aurelius, I'm sure you already had it up to here with this shit, but he's going to continue anyways. So, a sheep is a member of a clerical order. Doesn't matter if they're part of the clergy or part of the brute squad, whatever. We call them sheep.
Aurelius cuts him off.
Yeah.
Say your next words very carefully.
Kind of like purses his lips slightly. They're sheep because someone is leading them along. We don't know who, but we see it. We can see it in what they're doing. You are a black sheep. You stand out. You're not exactly part of them. You're unique, different, special. We're not sure if you're a goat yet or not, but, no one's a goat.
As he starts, trailing off, Aurelius will grab him by the throat. That's enough. Are you done?
No.
Good. He puts him back down.
He said he wasn't done. It's just like, well. He's done to you.
Aurelius looks back to the group. Shall we?
As you walk through the doors, there's no, I'll save that for later. As you walk through the doors, there's more people moving around. You hear various different sounds of different people. This one has a bit more of small snaps and pops, almost like fireworks, almost. Excuse me. Serenity, you are who are you not following?
He's staring daggers, apparently, at trying to size up Silvertongue still.
Then you're following, because Silvertongue is following.
Okay.
You're
So
not-
good. She's fucking at least
Yeah.
moving.
Yes.
I don't know where
The
things
group.
have stopped.
If Ben Sterling moves, the group follows.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Artemis is moving with the paperwork she was given.
Yep. The guy goes,
Paperwork
please,
is on the wind heading towards the...
please bring those back when you're done.
I will, and I'll have my revisions on them.
Fidget will look behind her, kind of going, trust her. I trust her. She knows what she's doing.
Yeah,
Don't
if you're sure. And so you
Aurelius narrows his eyes and, like, positions himself next to Fidget.
You
Something's
didn't kill
off.
anyone. You didn't kill anyone. I'm proud of you.
Trust me, it was difficult.
I just straight up damn near fisted the outside of this man's throat, and you compliment him for not murdering somebody?
yes.
Yeah.
Please use a different word other than fisting. Please use a different word other than fisting.
Look, I'm surprised you didn't comment on it.
She's too busy. First of all, I had to desperately stop myself from doing so. But second of all, Serenity currently is just trying to figure out how quickly she
Serenity.
can rip out this man's throat.
Not Serenity, you.
Yeah.
Oh no, I
Parrot.
fucking censored myself hard.
But yeah, Fidget will look up at Aurelius, kind of going, what do you mean something's off?
Don't like it.
As we go into this new room, can I do another perception check?
You may.
I'm muted.
Yes, you may.
Your
Oh, no.
microphone is not wanting to pick up you saying yes.
Yes.
It really does. It's been doing this forever.
I don't know why it hates me. Let me love
Whenever
you.
whenever you say yes, just go to eat the microphone
Got
from
it.
this point on.
26.
Damn, what are you
Push.
fucking rolls without these fucking world?
It's because I have the plus 11.
It helps.
You still roll shit with an 11.
There is a number of different people moving around. All of them occasionally take glances over towards the group, obviously. They size you guys up, and you can definitely see that. There are a few people who are just completely ignoring you. One of whom you appear to be making your way towards with Van Sterling. As you can see them, their backs to you, and they're working on something. They have a knife in hand, and they're like carving against something. You'd probably guess woodworking of some sort. You see them like putting a piece off to the side, scuttling over, and just grabbing at something else, holding it up, still working on it. And Van Sterling goes and he like just takes the cane, just like smacks it once against the door frame. The person pauses, tilts their heads for a moment. And they kind of they don't like turn and look. They like put their hand up and then look underneath their arm, and you see as they turn, you can see that their ears have a metallic bauble across them, pointed ears. And as they look underneath, they have a mask covering the lower half of their face and a big set of what you can only presume to be artificer-type goggles.
Can Artemis see him?
No, you can clearly see them. Yes, this is me describing what you're seeing with perception.
Oh, sorry. I zoned.
You're
right.
fine. No, you weren't zoning out. You were taking in everything.
Yeah, Artemis freezes up a little bit when she's... He's familiar, right?
Yes. They push themselves up and like stand like full stock straight, just looking at you all. Tilt their head again, and Van Sterling's like, "Crazy. This is my crew. You remember them?" They pause
Fidget
and look over
gives
everyone.
him the biggest smile.
They pull it down. There's a big grin. They push up their goggles, and you can just see these big welted rings around their eyes. They've clearly been pushing it in. They're like, "Hi, woo, baby face." Man,
I go by Fidget now.
Fidget. Did you transition, or you just transition names? Trying something new.
And she'll point behind her to Artemis, going, that one actually gave me the new nickname.
Ooh.
Artemis is staring a little wide-eyed at him. Tyven?
They open their mouth. They like, yeah, and they're about. They make a motion, and then they like slap themselves in the face. Suddenly, they're like,
Tyven?
You can talk? Artie? The mark. You. Oh, it doesn't work? Artie!
It only lasts a month.
Oh
It only lasts a month. And she's gonna run at him and throw her arms around his neck.
He lifts you up, and it's clear that as he lifts you up, he is not really that strong, and so she goes on like maybe
there we
onto
go.
her tiptoes, and he leans back, and you just hear him go, "Uh-oh," as he just falls onto his back, just boom. He's like, "I'm okay." Holds up a thumb. "I'm okay." Hold on.
Aurelius just kind of like watching this happen once again, rubs his eyes, and he just kind of quietly says, "How many reunions will there be today?"
Fidget will look at Tank and kind of share an eye contact with him, going, do you want to get him this time, or do you want me to?
I will say,
Tank will.
as Serenity goes past Aurelius when he says that, she will. Immediately when Artie fell, like, that snapped Serenity out of it, 'cause she didn't know what happened, so she just saw significant other has fallen to the ground. What the fuck?
So you lift her up,
But-
and coming with her is a young man who looks up and is like, "Hi, hello, who's this?"
As she goes past Aurelius, she just goes, "The only two are left are you and me with this." When he asks how many reunions are there gonna be, and she just looks at this person clinging to Artie, looks at them. Clearly, Artie doesn't mind.
This is... Everyone calls you crazy now?
Well, yeah. I mean, I figured if they were going to call me crazy before, then they should call me crazy.
Are you the one that called me TikTok?
Oh, listen. Shh.
You did!
It made sense. It made sense. Oh.
Little thing, aren't you?
He makes emotions with his hands, and he looks at them like like they betrayed him. He's like, I spent time learning how to do hand signs just in case, because I heard you were marked, and it only lasts a month.
Artemis pulls down the scarf covering her mouth. It's because when they usually put these on people, they kill them within the month.
You know, honestly, when you say it like that, that does make sense. Yeah. You know, that kind of makes it sound like it's kind of stupid that they do that, huh? Oh, one sec. We will talk. Promise. Ben Sterling! Good savior of all good things, good. Hi, hello, how can I be of assistance? And Ben Sterling, honestly, he doesn't look to be, like, frustrated with this man. He doesn't seem to be, he seems to just take it in stride that this is what he has to deal with for them.
At this point.
Yeah, he's just like,
Man is straight up just like, I'm used to this.
You're getting
He's
paid.
better than Midnight.
You're getting paid. Oh, I do it for free. I do it to spite D'Artez. I do it over him tripping over a pebble. What can I do for you? What? Hello, ma'am. You didn't tell me your name. Please.
Huh?
Your name.
Huh?
Your name.
Serenity.
Serenity. Looks to Artemis. Looks to Serenity. Looks to Artemis. Serenity. Looks to Artemis. Oh, you are in love. Oh no. Does she know?
I'm sorry. She actually turns red.
Does she know?
Huh?
No, which part?
That you and her have eyes for each other. That you both look at each other with it. Okay, good. I'm bad with this, so the fact that I caught on it, I was worried that I was the last one to know, and I wanted to make sure you weren't the last ones to know. I was going to be
Wait,
really, really sad.
I'm sorry, was he making that in love comment to you? And she's looking at Artemis, confused.
No, he's just making sure he knows that we know that we're in love.
Yes.
Very quietly, she just goes, "You're in love with me?"
I thought that was obvious.
Oh, she's the last one to know. Oh no.
No, she's not. I've told her it before. I don't know why she keeps forgetting.
Oh, okay. So,
leads down.
excuse me, Mr.
We'll talk later.
Miss Serenity, please
I've told you this.
have a seat. Take a deep breath. You're going to either die in a few minutes or you're going to be fine for the rest of your life. Don't worry, we'll figure that out later. Would you like something over your shoulders?
Huh?
You're Mrs. Duality, right?
Sorry?
Ooh, Van Sterling, can I do an angel on one shoulder and a devil on the other? Ask Ask her.
Miss Duality? That's what they've been calling me?
Not Miss Duality. I'm being formal.
Okay.
They just call you
Mr.
Duality.
Serenity will work fine.
Because they've heard that when you get angry, you can become spooky. Which, honestly, I think that's such a stereotype. Spooky people are beautiful and they deserve love and affection. Or to be feared. I don't know
What is
which.
happening?
Hi, I'm Crazy. It's nice to meet you. Would you like an angel and a devil on your shoulder, or would you like me to not give you this very cool-looking cloak? And pulls out this cloak that it's like intermingled with one part looking like it's got a feather design on it, and the other part looking like it's webbed like a bat's wing, with pauldrons looking thing. One of it looking to be a dove, and the other one looking to be a raven.
Her eyes light up. I would happily accept this cloak.
Wonderful.
How did you How did you survive this group? Aurelius whispers.
Fidget?
Yes.
Yeah.
Fidget kind of going, I'm considered the odd one.
You're the odd one?
Have you met the rest of them?
That moment
I
when you
don't
find
know.
out
I was the odd one.
Aurelius is just like, I'm not sure if I want to.
suddenly questioning, do I really want to meet the rest of you? Fuck no!
Well, yes, shut up, Silver Tongue. Midnight doesn't shut up in general. Reza only talks when he wants to. Von Sterling, you've talked to. I don't
And Tank's
know
the
Emba.
drinking buddy.
Yeah, Emba, I can't exactly say anything about. I just met her. And Tank's, you can trust Tank. I trust him with my life.
Are you whispering this?
Yes.
Cool, making sure.
I'm just not gonna whisper because my microphone might not pick it up.
Appreciate it, making sure. I understand stage whispering it, that's why I was double checking.
But yeah, Fidget's just kind of counting, labeling it off, kind of going, crazy means well. He always has.
That's right! Hold on a second. Miss, sit down, put that on your shoulders. I want to see how it looks on you. You look like you've got the body for it, but I need to take a look at Fidget. You never told me if you transitioned the name because you were transitioning or you just wanted to change the name. You gave it to her. I understand. Her? Him?
No. Oh, crazy.
I
No,
want to
no,
be
no.
correct. I don't need
My
to
dad-
be good. I need to be correct.
I told you stuff about my dad. I didn't mean it to actually come across as me wanting to be a boy.
Look, I don't know. You might. Is so still she? She, her?
It's still she. Still she, her.
Okay. Cool. Wonderful. I like your cloak. Can I have it? Not to
He
keep.
Without even
fix it?
hesitating,
Mhm.
she takes off the hammer pin that she wears and hands over her cloak to him.
Takes it, puts a hand on Artie. Artie, I require your assistance. This is a time of great urgency and need. Can you help me in this endeavor?
What are we doing?
We're going to make it so that when she pulls the hood up, she looks ominous.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
What happens when you and Midnight get into an entirely unending conversation? Who
Please
passes out
don't
first?
ask.
Oh no.
So understand this. Midnight and I will occasionally get into conversations. However, generally speaking, it ends with the usual amount of hijinks that would be expected from him saying something that made me go, "Oh, that's right!" And as he says that, he pulls out a bowless hand crossbow, meaning that it just doesn't have the bow. It basically looks like a gun.
What's a gun?
Out of character.
Oh.
Yeah, but that's what it looks like, because it's, again, a crossbow, but it doesn't have the bolt slide, but it has an opening for something else. You can hear something rattling in there, as you just see Midnight go, "Come on, not again," as he ducks out of the way as Crazy fires a rock at him. Bang! He's just like, "Come on, come back here!"
Please hit someone on accident, please, God.
It does the other cartoonish thing where it just bounces around the office a few seconds with people just like leaning to the left, leaning to the right, just dodging the rock as it finally comes back and Tank grabs it, just like, "Not inside, please." And Bellin was just like looking around slowly at everyone.
Yeah, he grabbed the gun.
He grabbed the rock.
The rock.
It's not an arrow. He fired a rock.
Aurelius is looking at Tank just like, if you didn't do it, I would.
So he caught the bouncing rock.
Yes.
Yep. Chang, rather. Yeah, Serenity's staring at him before she just goes, "Coward!"
What?
And points at him.
What?
Called him a coward.
What? What do?
You could do all of that, and you left early when we were drinking?
I had place to go. I motions to the rest of the group.
Please, can we deal with this later? Aurelius is like mentally done with this shit.
As you say that, Crazy points to you.
Crazy leaving.
Yeah, Crazy points to you. "Don't think I haven't seen you. Don't worry, I've got something for you eventually." As he slides over to the table and goes, "Quick, Artie, hand me the tools."
Okay.
I
Artemis
don't want
looks
anything.
genuinely a little bit dizzy with all of the conversation and everything going on, and all the conversation changes.
Yep.
Fair enough.
And Crazy like starts to work on it, pauses after a couple seconds, looks up and is just like, "You all can go. Shoo, please." And Van Sterling gives a little nod. "I expect you to return that before dawn." "Of course! I am nothing if not a master of my craft, and I have my..." Wraps his arms around Artemis. "Bestie, here to help. We were like siblings, but closer.
You're stealing my girlfriend.
You'll get her back."
He's my brother.
"Yeah, it's my sister. I just want to spend some quality time talking to her for a second. Now, shoo! Out to my workshop."
She'll walk up to Artemis and give her a quick kiss to the temple. "Have fun.
All
You and
right.
I do need to talk before this hunt starts, though."
We need to talk about your memory.
Okay, look, we will have this discussion because in love means something completely different to me than it does to you, I think. Later.
I've told you that before.
Later, Dove.
Later means out of my workshop, please. I adore the love and romance that we have in the air. I don't have candles and a romantic music.
Aurelius is gone before he
Yes.
finishes
Oh,
talking.
yeah, no, of course.
He's
you got it.
gone
Makes-
several minutes ago.
Fidget makes eye contact with Crazy, and her eyes narrow, going, "That better be in one piece when I get it back."
"Oh, you doubt my craftsmanship? That's fine. Everyone does. It'll be in one piece. I won't make it tattered and make it all ooh."
As she follows after the group, to be fair, Artemis is with him, so even if he might have torn it, Artemis won't.
"She'll keep me in
I've never
line."
had
Smile.
something. I've never had something made by Crazy before, so.
You could
Well,
never
if he's
afford it
Artemis'
because
sibling.
this is a piece of, and you just hear the door close as Van Sterling closes the door as he has pulled you all out, and just like he's like, I'm done with this conversation," and he kind of motions for you to keep moving.
Trey
Fidget's-
smiles
Yep.
loudly and beelines for Silvertongue.
He's going after Silvertongue.
Cool. We'll get to that in a couple seconds. Maxim nudges you, Fidget, and motions to a side of the area where there's some people who are training with weird, odd-looking weapons. Like,
She'll move over to him, going, "Yeah?"
we'll get to that in a second. I'm kind of splitting up the group just a smidge, just give everyone some personal interactions for a little bit. So you're over there, and also so that people don't interrupt her while she's trying to do this.
Oh yeah. But yeah, she'll look at Maxim going, yeah, what about it?
Okay, we'll get to you in a second. So, Paris spoke first. Paris wants to be over here. But before
Okay.
we do that, Aurelius, is there anything you're looking around looking at? Or are you following Fidget?
Aurelius is full on sentinel mode. He is not looking for anything in particular. He is he's full on just like guardian. He's kind of falling back into an old mentality.
I will say that kind of positioned, like, just slightly adjacent, parallel to you, Razor takes up a similar stance. Not the same. He's not trained exactly like you, but very much a person who has been trained to watch over others. Someone akin to you.
Aurelius doesn't say anything. He just kind of nods with respect. And that's about it.
And he looks to you, looks to your group one at a time, then looks back to you and gives like a sympathetic raise of the brow, but then gives a nod. Like a, wow, you're putting up with all this? All right. So
there's a light smirk, but not directed at anyone, and it fades pretty quickly.
Of course.
He goes back into Batman brood mode.
Of course. Oh, no, he doesn't know that. So, Serenity, you approach with intent, most likely malicious.
Very malicious. The flames are back.
I change the music.
You can if you want.
Okay.
Not quite.
It's so it can get used.
Of course.
It's so it can get used.
Yeah.
And it's
It's a
called
little
ambush.
too intense.
A little
It's called
intense.
ambush.
Yeah.
Called ambush for a reason.
It's a little intense. I'll turn down just a smidge. So, you step up to him, and he looks to you as though you were there.
Hold on, I gotta fuck with the audio on my own computer. There we go. You had words to say. Say it.
We're doing that. Never mind. Hold on. Back to this.
You're talking about me like you think you understand me. Getting secondhand information. Pulling up like you're gonna hit me. Are you gonna hit me?
Things I could get away with things that I could do if I could get away with it are far beyond just hitting. But I didn't think that I needed the other side of a story from someone who's emotionally abusive.
That what she's been telling you?
And you're just charismatic enough for me to believe it.
You could say that about Midnight, too. That he's, charismatic and suave. To a point.
So then go on. Tell me exactly how this story might have been twisted against you, if you claim such things.
I understand you were passed a note. Is there anything that you were actually told about the titles?
Out of character, I feel like I've been talked to you about the fucking titles. My brain is pulling up such a heavy fucking blank. Help.
It's the Hammer, Shadow, Whisper, Mask.
scribe,
Okay.
Those
stuff like those things.
tribe stuff like that. I don't think Serenity's ever been told.
She shakes her head. Unfortunately, I haven't been privy to that knowledge, no.
My job was to make sure people like Midnight were kept in line. People like Babyface were kept in line. Razor did as Razor did. I could respect him for being a good shadow. And he drifts off for a moment. And he kind of twists his head, and you can hear him pop his neck after a couple seconds. Then he turns and looks back at you.
Don't get tongue-tied now.
I'm deciding whether or not you're worth my time. You're working with us. That don't mean you're one of us. I don't have to go spilling my guts across the deck for you. Any more than anyone else here is. They're not here for you, they're here for her.
So we're all here for the same reason, then.
Exactly. But you're making it sound like I should respect you for the fact you're helping.
I don't give a fuck if you respect me, little man. I really don't. I've lived, 5, 6, 7 years without people's respect? I really don't need the respect of a lying, abusive sack of a boy. Any more than I need one of an insect. So don't get it twisted. I came over here because I was curious.
You were curious
What about
and you
you?
decided to put your foot straight in your mouth.
I came over here to figure out myself what is on you.
Second, you
I
kind
came
of
over here
cut
to
out.
size you up, and that. Oh, she said I came over here to see what that thing was that's attached to you. I came over here to size you and it up. Because I will work with you until the end of this. Until the end of all of this collective bullshit. After that, if I'm still alive, I'm going to make it my personal mission to tear out that wonderfully eloquent tongue of yours with my teeth. Okay?
You know, I want to believe you. I really do. But you haven't noticed the dagger under your breastbone for the last minute. So I think you're a bit too hot-headed to understand that you are in danger. And you look down, and his hand is up, and he is holding a dagger, just casually, not pressed up against you, just there. You never saw him move. Now,
Clever.
flips it around, and he offers you the dagger. What are you waiting for? I understand that you, what was it? Come from a small family back up north. Didn't take much to find that out. Finding out that you were part of the sheep was, something else entirely. But you're not a sheep. Not according to what we heard. A sheep, not a sheep. You're too angry for that. Yeah, I've got all that rage behind those eyes. You got a instinct driving you, and all that instinct right now is telling you to go right for my throat. Tear into it. bleeding dry. I've had that happen once before. I've already had all of the life drained from me. And the only thing keeping me alive was, what'd you call it? That thing attached to me. Only thing pumping air into my lungs was that thing attached to me.
He's still looking at the dagger. Why exactly are you offering me this small weapon?
Because if I let you reach for the big weapon, every other person in this establishment might be willing to kill you. At least with the dagger, they'll know that I'm still playing around.
I'm not gonna injure an asset right before a mission.
You'll hardly do any damage. Anything more is going to be just hurting your own pride. I'm not saying that that's an asset to this, but we might need it if you're going to keep your chin up when we need you in the coming nights.
Still take the dagger. Don.
Mm-hmm.
Throwing's with disadvantage, is it?
Hmm?
Throwing's with disadvantage.
If you throw it, yes.
She walks back 10 feet and just tosses it over his shoulder. I'm not wasting your blood. Not yet. She'll head over to Fidget.
You don't hear it hit the floor. While you don't glance back, Aurelius, you who kind of were keeping an eye on things just in case, see that when she tosses it, he casually catches it between two fingers, watches her, and just has a faint squint. Almost unreadable expression beyond that, just a squint, before he slowly curls the blade back around. And you alone, see him look at the blade for a second, have this momentary exhale, and his shoulders kind of just drop for a second. Like he's shrugging off a weight. Like he's letting go of a tension he was trying to wind himself up for. He kind of lets the dagger swing loosely between his fingers for a second before he flips it back into his hand and slowly sheathes it, puts it away.
Does Aurelius recognize this in any capacity?
Not specifically from you.
Okay.
But you've seen it from someone who was close to you once. A kind of trauma response. That's all I'll say on that.
Okay. Aurelius will just continue to watch for a few more seconds until he's certain that nothing else is going to come of it, and then return back to his,
post.
His brooding corner.
Yes.
He's not in a corner. He's brooding with a friend.
Yeah.
Razor.
His brooding bleacher.
He and Razor are brooding together.
Razor has said 2 sentences, and he is their best friend.
Aurelius has more respect for Razor because of just silence. There's a silent kinship between warriors of similar type.
So we're gonna hop over quickly to Artemis with Crazy real quick. As they're clearly working on an enchantment you recognize as mostly what it does is it effectively gives the Dread Helm effect, where it'll cause a person's eyes to glow red when it's flipped up. And he keeps going like. So how'd you come to meet them?
Well, I was traveling with Serenity, and we ended up getting pulled into some work together.
No kidding. And then you just kind of fell in love along the way?
That happened before that, but it was more just during that. What?
Just you.
What?
I never get tired of seeing your heart. And it's never when don't get me wrong, your heart is beautiful, it's wonderful, it's magnificent, and I can tell because I can see it on the people around you.
Artemis will kind of duck her head down for a minute.
I mean, consider for a moment the lady. She's tall, muscular, and she looks like she was ready to pick both of us up. Oh wait, no, she did do that, didn't she? Wow. Whew. I was seeing stars for a second there, and then I realized she was yours, and I respect that I'm not allowed to touch what's my sister's. That's between you and her, but at the same time, nice. Am I allowed to say that? I feel like that was a little too much. I'm so sorry.
You can say that. We're not exclusive.
I mean, no, I would hope not. Not after everything. You know, I set fire to, 1, 2, 3. I set fire to a couple of places on my way out.
Which places?
They will take a moment, hop up onto the table, and they will pull up their pants leg. You know what he's showing off. The marking of where the two of you had been branded. Not the same location, but
You burned one of them down?
I didn't say one of them. I tried to find yours. I forgot the symbol though, and so I just kind of was like, eeny, meeny, fuck it. Obviously,
There's a little manic giggle that pulls from her mouth, and she kind of pulls up her leg to show off her brand mark.
Let me see if you
It's a
remember.
little bit different from his.
Yeah, let me see if he remembers if he got that one or not. Oh yeah, I knew I got it right. It was actually the second one I burnt down. I guess I just hit a few more because I wasn't sure. Wow, man, I was worried that I didn't get it. Don't worry though. I made sure that when I was doing so, I came in there with a big cowbell and had them wrapped around my arms. Was just like, everyone leave! The building's on fire! And then I set it on fire. You know, as you do.
As you do.
As you do.
You know, they were objecting to me setting fire to the cart.
They were objecting to that?
Mm-hmm.
But, okay, which cart?
The one we came in on, I said I would set it on fire if there was anyone clinging to the bottom of it.
Okay, but was there anyone clinging to the bottom of it?
No, so I didn't set it on fire.
You know, that makes more sense. I thought you were just going to set it on fire and leave me in my lonesome to not be able to enjoy the beautiful bonfire of a burning carriage careening through the streets on a warm summer's night.
You know, maybe we could set something on fire once dawn comes.
Ooh! Tempting. Ooh! Ah! Did you want anything from me to you? Oh, wait! I stole a thing!
What'd you steal? What did you take?
They pull their pant leg down, fall off the table onto their face, push themselves back up, and they're like, 1 second, vault over the table, which is more of them throwing their legs onto it and then rolling over it, and then flopping back on their face again with the, I meant to do this, it's under here, no, pops back up, and pulls out a box that he sets on the table and slides it over to you. I got them.
Artemis will
There.
Slowly take the box, flip it open.
So you remember the leaders and the people, and they were like, these are for our special kids and whatnot. They're all-purpose tools. Ta-da!
Okay, she's gonna be carefully looking at them,
Okay, hold on.
checking for tracking devices.
Roll investigation check, or Arcana check, your choice. As they slide back down and pull up a second set that they set down, and they pull out to kind of showcase it. Looking it over,
12.
it's got a lot of scratch marks on it, which you guess were probably done by Crazy trying to make sure every inch of it that they thought could be tracked without it being from the runes that allowed it to do what it did were removed. So Crazy's a little neurotic about it, but they've clearly been trying to make sure that it was safe. Their own, as they pull it out, also are covered with similar things, but as they pull it out, they're like, watch this. Close the box. Ready? Are you ready for this? Oh, no. Better. Name a type of tool.
Wrench.
Wrench. Pat. Turns it around, opens it, and there's a wrench in there. Wait, hold on. Closes it. Now say a type of tool. Set. If you want, I can just say you say one of the ones from the PHP.
Yeah.
So you say one, and they're like, don't worry, Smith's tools. Open! And opens it up, and there's a set of Smith's tools in there. They close it again. Cartographers. Open it, and there's change to cartographers. And they motion yours. You have to do the thing where you like weave magic between yourself and it. You know, like holding on to it and all that stuff. But you can have any tool you want in the palm of your hands. Yeah.
So I'm not crazy when I say that there are strings.
No, you're not crazy.
Do you know how they've been looking at me since I started talking about the strings? She gives a vague gesture towards Serenity, Fidget, and Aurelius are.
Why do you think I got the nickname Crazy? I talked about the strings when I could see them the first time I saw them. You were one of the only people who I thought could see them, and occasionally you'd try and humor me about it, but I knew one day you would see the strings. But they're there. They connect everything.
Yeah, I started seeing them after I went to the Feywild.
You went to the Hoodoo-Wadaba? Hold on. Story time. Let's work on this. Tell me the story. I need all of... Hold on. Do I have tea? Oh, I don't drink tea. Tell me all the story.
And she starts to go into the whole thing about the pervy satyr with the fan club.
Gross. Please tell me you set him on fire.
I wish. Instead, someone came along who knew my name. My last name.
What? No. Did they give a name?
Kindle don't remember.
It has
What's
been a
the
while,
name?
so Artemis might have blanked on it. Which would make sense.
Artemis would probably remember.
Artemis remembers?
Kindle is not feeling too hot and doesn't remember.
We'll go over that later, no worries. I don't
Okay,
have it,
so
I don't
she-
have it on hand.
Okay, so she would just say the name.
Neat.
Yeah, it was a short elf with the longest ears I've ever seen.
Like young, like our age, like young, like double our age, young, like triple our age, young, like...
I said like short elf with long ears.
Oh, you meant full. Weird.
Yeah, they live there and they
What, just casually? Just
yeah,
in-
they live in the Feywild.
They just just there?
Mm-hmm.
Whoa! I didn't know they went there. I went the wrong direction.
Which way? What was the other way?
The other way. Oh, the other way. The other way. The way. So. Oh, what? I can't. So I'm a little, right now. Not today. Or this month. Later. Looks around like conspicuously. And leans forward slowly. I need to take you to the place of clocks. It's in a whole place of clocks.
Artemis is just gonna stare at him wide-eyed and kind of hold whatever clocks.
And looks around slowly again. There were devils there. Talking to angels. I'm not crazy. I am crazy, but I'm not crazy about it. They were there. They were real.
I know. I believe you.
It exists. And there were clocks, so many things ticking. And I was like, this is perfect. I found where I need to be. But there were no elves. I was sad. But they were in the Feywild. Of course they went the other way. But I don't remember how I got there. But if you give me time, I can lead you to the place of clocks.
Artemis will start nodding. Okay,
But first,
we can do that.
Fidget needs her cloak.
Yes.
Not in tatters. Yes. Over here. Hand me that. over there.
I'm helping I'm
yeah.
helping the ones up front do the invisibility potion thing where you can do violent things while invisible.
Are they still having trouble with that? I still don't know that. I'm not an alchemist.
Well, it'd be fun to fiddle with.
Well, let's fiddle. After Fidget. Fidget first! Fidget first!
Yes.
And they lead you back, and they will fidget with the cloak. Haha, pun. And the two of you will keep doing that. Meanwhile, moving back over to Fidget.
Yes.
Aurelius, you're, again, just kind of looking around. You saw the confrontation that's happened. And Serenity, you will be moving over shortly to see what's going on. As they're working with a number of different weapons. One of which is one that you've not seen before, which is it has the look and feel of like a polearm, but it has two curved swords coming out of either end rather than acting like a polearm. As they spin this double-bladed scimitar around, just kind of whipping it back and forth. As clearly they're trying to get a feel for it, trying to move around and maneuver themselves. You see another person off to the side who has, effectively it looks like a slingshot, but when they're firing it, whatever ammunition they're firing pops like a very large explosive pop rock and sets a big quick burst of fire. And another person who has like a some chain wrapped around their arm with a little at first you think it's like a gemstone until you realize that it's actually a tapering of a blade as they drop it down and spin it around and just use basically a chain dart. Or not
Fidget's
chain, rope
attention
dart.
is right on.
Yep.
Yeah, Fidget's attention is instantly on the rope dart.
Yep. And the person who's
Aurelius is kind of like, he's still obviously in the state he's in, but he's taking mental notes of everything he's seeing. And he's not taking mental notes of the actual weapons, but how they're using them.
Oh, yeah. One person that you'll note, Aurelius, is that there's a woman who is working very slowly on some of the different weapons. And they're clearly modifying one of the weapons they have. And as she stands up, she takes it, and it looks like it is a one-handed longsword. Like the pommel is not long enough for it. And she moves over and she takes a few swings with it, gets into a stance and twists her hand and snaps it forward above her head as the blade drops down, and clearly you can see that it goes click, 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 click as it extends into a polearm that they quickly grab the end of and spin it forward into a swing before pushing back the handle into it and turning it back into that one-handed longsword and spinning around to grab it with two hands, with the where you can now see that the back where the back end of the blade would be. There's a pole for them to grab as they use it for a very quick shortcut. Look at it, shake their head, and go back to fiddling with it. Clearly something's off about the balance.
He takes a mental note of the technique so that he can write it down later.
Write that down. Write that down.
Yeah, basically. And he's even figuring out in his head how he would sketch. He's not the best artist, but he gets the job done.
Of course. Meanwhile, Fidget... oh, good. Just that?
And yeah, pretty much he's just looking. He continues looking around the room.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
And
Fidget, you approach, I would presume?
Yes, of all the things she's familiar with, swords and pole arms and stuff, she has never seen anything like the rope dart before.
As you approach, the person kind of like pauses, grabs the end of the rope and pulls it back in where they can catch the dart, kind of spin it very idly as they kind of glance over to you. Something I can help you with?
Sorry for staring, but
Looking's free, touching's...
What is that?
Touching will cost you. How much you willing to put down?
How much you...
For the weapon.
I know what you mean. She kind of just stares at him, kind of going, we ain't gonna do this haggling thing. You have a price in mind, tell me.
1 gold piece. It's not that much. It's made of rope with a bit of metal at the end. It's a little high and pricey, but it's worth it.
Is Von Sterling nearby?
He's behind a little ways, just kind of watching the interaction.
She turns to look at Von Sterling and points at the rope dart, going, this is on my tab.
She kind of glances at Van Sterling. Van Sterling looks slowly to her, gives a slight nod, and she kind of pauses with this look like, really? Kind of shrugs. Oh shit, you didn't tell me you were coming in with a big boss man. Alright. Over this way. Keep an eye on the rope. He's looking around too much. Might lose his eyes if he keeps doing that. And you see Maxim just like, how am I not supposed to look around? There's so much going on here.
Fidget will move over to Maxim and, in kind of a playful way, put her hand on the bottom of his chin and close his mouth. Drooling.
It's a lot. Kind of motions for you to follow her.
But yeah, welcome to my world. This is my play area. And she follows after.
Maxim will stay behind and just kind of watch, just kind of looking around. As she goes over, she gets another rope dart, and she kind of gets a few ones, kind of motions for you to hold out your arms, and she gets one a little bit slightly shorter than hers.
Okay.
She's a little taller than you.
Makes sense.
More to balance with your height and weight and whatnot. And she has you give a few testing swings of it, and it goes about as well as you would expect. You don't hit yourself in the head or anything like that, but it just kind of spins around, and it's slow work, and you can immediately tell that it would be the sort of thing that you would need a little bit more practice with to get the full use of it. But there's something about as you spin it, there's like a little whistle to it. It's kind of fun.
She has a smile on her face while moving it around a bit. She's aware that this is something she is going to have to very much work with.
Got good stance.
Kind of looking at it in her hand, going, "Thank you." She'll look up at the person, going, "Thank you."
You got good stance. You got good eyes. You didn't hit yourself in the head and almost brain yourself. You didn't stab yourself in the foot by dropping it. Yeah, 6 out of 10. Gives you a little playful poke.
Better than I thought.
Don't go dying on us.
I've got a group helping me with that. And she kind of does like the double snap and finger guns at the person.
They snap and
But her
think it goes
smile
back.
is not. Her smile is tired, and she's looking very stressed. But thank you.
Of course. Practice with it here while you get time.
She'll look at Maxim and kind of hold it up, going, "You ever seen one of these before?"
Maxim kind of looks to her, and she kind of like gives a squint, and he kind of squints back at her. I have. I
Think you
believe-
can help me out?
Yeah. Moves over and he'll gently begin to assist you. And Serenity, you kind of walk up around that point as you see them looking over this rope dart thing.
Am I interrupting something?
Yes.
I got a new toy.
Don't get.
Wait, repeat
Yes.
that.
He
He
said
said
yes.
yes. And Fidget said, "I have a new toy."
He's new.
The rope dart is new. Yes.
He's laughing. It went right over his head, and I love it. Or he's just big an ass. Either way, it works.
Maybe.
She'll kind of laugh and look at Serenity, going, "You doing okay?"
Ask me that again in 3 days.
You
She's
talked
smiling.
to him, didn't you?
I'm not sure what's responsible for the urges I'm feeling right now. I don't know if that's Evictus or me.
Oh, it's you.
But either way, they're all bloody and all involve my teeth.
Listen, I understand that you want to blame that on me. That's totally you. I'm just delighted to hear these thoughts. But it's you.
Damn it.
Damn it.
Fidget will kind of wrap the rope around her arm and just holding onto the dart, going, "Be honest with me. If I hadn't told you what he'd done to me, would your opinion be the same?"
He talks too well, and it makes my skin crawl. I will not be nearly as violent, but I have been told that I'm like a dog when it comes down to friends and family, so...
It's appreciated, Serenity, really. He's given me my space. That's all that matters right now.
What's wrong with him?
In what way?
There's something in him.
He's had that since before we met.
I'm assuming he never told you what it was.
Not fully, no.
I will ask Evictus mentally, because I'm not just gonna say his fucking name
Yeah.
loud.
Mhm.
You get a read on it, or is it something foreign to you too?
Not of the hells or the abyss. So, yeah, no, I didn't get read on it. It was cool as shit! Whose am I echoing with? Why am I echoing in your head? Ah!
Talk for me, Don.
Huh?
You hear a
Yes.
second voice just pop in. Yeah, sorry, that was me. Davey disappears.
God damn it, Davey!
He's sweeping the cobwebs out of Serenity's brain.
But yeah, I've seen it pop up when Comp talks that your thing lights up.
Yes. It happens sometimes, very very rarely, but it was happening right then. It was like, hold on a second, this is a funny moment. This is a moment to kind of pull out some of the stress of stuff.
She just dies. Alright, so it's not a devil or a demon, so something otherworldly.
It's spooky. Fuck him up. Simple as that.
I really, 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 really want to. Cannot do it right now.
Also, he might fuck you up, so like be careful. I'm kind of in here too. Remember, anytime you threaten someone and they don't take the threat, as a threat, my life is also at stake. Don't fucking die.
She just sighs.
Okay.
It will kind of go, look.
Oh.
Yeah, we dated for most of the time I was in the collective. I knew there was something up. I never got a chance to actually have that discussion with him.
We'll look to Maxim. At least your taste is improved. Somewhat.
Fidget will kind of laugh at that and kind of... Is Silver still standing where he was?
He's moved over and he's talking business in details.
She'll kind of sigh going, unfortunately, if he's working with us, I might actually have to go extend the olive branch for the next 3 days myself.
If you want, I can bite the bullet.
In what way?
Bolt! Extend the olive branch so you don't have to speak to him.
We're gonna be working together for the next 3
That
days.
doesn't mean you have... That doesn't mean that you have to talk to him.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean he won't try to talk to me.
So then just ignore him.
Yeah, that don't work with him.
Would you like me to bodyguard you? So more than capable of just physically removing you from a scenario.
He's got a temper.
So do I.
He's made things explode in a room while we had arguments before.
So I'm supposed to just let you put yourself into a pit with your abusive ex, who's already agreed to help us.
What I'm going to do is, with all of these witnesses, go talk to him. If you
raise your hand.
Yes.
No, it's not like in the question. It's like the hands up of like fine type thing.
And she'll be like, and if you and Maxim would like to come with to make sure if his anger shows, you can stop anything from happening to me, you're more than allowed.
He grins.
Like, I am not saying this in a way to stop you from coming with me. I'm just saying my next stop is to go talk to him so we can get past things.
Maxim, you feel like having the opportunity to jump at abusive acts?
If they're as bad as is said, I don't think we're going to be doing much jumping, but we'll see. Hold on. As you guys are heading over...
Oh, go ahead.
Because you're heading over, right?
Yeah.
As you're heading over, you can see Tank over off on the side talking to Velinor, and Velinor's like looking at something. And Tank like gently takes it from him and shows him, like, it flicks open, and Velinor just has this look that's just like this, like, at first he's like looking at it, he's just like, what? And Tank's just like, see, nothings.
Oh, that's right, I have to talk to Velinor too. She like rubs the bridge of her nose.
Do you trust Maxim enough to keep me safe if you want to go talk to him?
I trust Maxim to keep you safe. The reason that I'm coming is because if I have the opportunity to sink my teeth into him, I really want it. She's a little bit more rabid than usual when she gets like this.
She'll just kind of shake her head going, just both of yous, don't stay too close behind me. I don't want it to look like we're coming up for a confrontation.
Yeah, how about this? I'll go talk to Velinor. Maxim, you know what a crow sounds like?
Yeah.
Make that noise in case you need me. I'm sure you can do a good enough interaction. She looks like she wants to say something.
He
Stops!
He moves to where he's with. He kind of looks to you and is just like, as big as this place is, I'm pretty sure I've got the drop on most of the room. If you need me to stay back further.
Just knowing you're a little bit closer than all the way over here will make it so that I don't turn into who I used to be.
I'll step up closer, no worries. I'll be there.
Thank you, Maxim.
He nods. Pets Serenity on the shoulder.
And Fidget will make her way over to Silvertongue.
I'll head over to Valinor.
Aurelius
Do we want to do
just...
the lighthearted or the deep shit first?
We're gonna do an Aurelius thing for a second.
Aha.
Okay. I was literally just gonna say he's watching very carefully.
Of course, I understand that. But as all this has been going on, and you're keeping an eye on things, you hear.
I hear what?
Hold on. I gotta get back into the right accent so I don't fuck it up.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just suddenly his hearing stopped.
No,
I was like, oh no,
here's nothing.
the abyss has taken hold.
Deep Southern boy.
Is it alright if I say that you're good for her? You and yours.
Aurelius doesn't respond. It's clear that he acknowledged what he said, but he's not responding either way.
My position doesn't make it easy for making compatriots the way others do. Midnight tries, but I think he tries too hard. I'm not going to talk about Silvertongue. No need to. Watch him run his tongue. Tank's a good man, though. So is Fidget. Well, she's a good woman, but you understand.
Aurelius draws his greatsword and flips it upside down, so he's like still guard position, but much more clear that he's ready for anything. It's a silent sort of statement, kind of saying, note that for the moment you're my ally, but the moment that something like goes the other way, I will not hesitate.
He pauses and
because he does not trust anyone in this room.
Of course, he glances to you. You and Tank will get along just fine. Just a little snippet of Razor talking to Aurelius. I felt it was a little neat.
Wait, that was Razor?
That was
I thought
Razor.
it was...
No, that was Razor
Razor.
talking. Yeah.
Razor was trying to get you to talk.
Yeah. He wasn't trying to get you to talk. He was talking to you. Van Sterling's just kind of hovering, looking between different things and talking.
Yeah, I thought...
that was Razor.
Everything that Aurelius did still applies, but
yeah.
But that changes the dynamic a bit. Aurelius is more of a literally passive aggressive.
Yes.
Not just spoken, passive aggressive.
Yes.
There is, like, he respects Razor a lot,
Yeah.
but he wants his intentions clear.
Of course.
So, yeah, he's like that. Once more, he's scanning the room again, and I imagine he looks over to see the person messing around with the lance sword again.
Mm-hmm.
And then, after they're finished with that again, he once more takes a mental note, and then when he's scanning the room that final time after that, then he sees them walking past.
Yep.
And at this point, he kind of clutches his sword as if he's holding back. There's a part of him that wants to act, but he knows he shouldn't. And he's not hiding it.
Of course. And you approach Fidget.
Yep. And she'll kind of clear her throat since he's in the middle of a conversation, just to announce that she's there.
He doesn't look up at you immediately. It's clear you kind of caught him while he was mid doing something else. Moment passes as he pauses and kind of just pushes his finger slowly, more firmly against the paper that he was reading before sliding it back across the table. The person kind of like looks at it just like, you okay? Okay, just take that. I'll be with you in a moment. He turns and he looks to you.
We're gonna have to be civil during these next 3 days at least.
With the rest of your new folk, I can be civil.
I meant between you and I.
Why wouldn't we be civil?
Oh, I don't know what you did to me, sent me out there, all that stuff.
Which time? Because you are part of the collective. You went out to perform missions. Which time?
The time that made me have to leave Corvin.
The time where D'Artes stabbed us in the back, rend us apart for 2 years, and made it so that everything was a hellhole for a time? The part where you were told to come back?
You could have done?
The part where I could have done, but D'Artes kept insisting that it needed to be done by someone who was able to hold their own. And while I could have done it, at the last minute it was decided against my will to switch it to you.
And who made that decision?
D'Artes. Who do you think? You think
He decided I was supposed to go?
he decided you were supposed to go? You think I chose to send you in with his son? His son's a pissin', deserving of being shoved down 2 flights of stairs with a pack of bears at the bottom to maul him. And that's too good for him.
Do you even try to look?
Course. But with D'Artes breathing down your neck, talking about his new ideas, can't exactly look that hard. Not without drawing attention and making it obvious where you are if I cut your scent.
I need to make something very clear, Silva.
And what's that?
Do I have your full attention? We just work together for the next 3 days, and that's it. Nothing more.
I can keep my hands to myself.
Oh, you can keep your hands to yourself forever. We ain't a thing no more.
Nothing's changed beyond what happened. We've had 2 years apart. Nothing's changed.
Silva, I'm with someone else.
He can certainly think that all he wants.
I'm not yours.
You've always been mine.
After this, you're not gonna see me again. I am not yours. I was barely yours when I was there.
I did so much with you. So much for you.
Did for me? You did stuff for me?
Were you not paying attention? Yeah.
So I'm now ungrateful.
Clearly.
You try and lay a hand on me, I'll have a robe down your throat quicker than you can even blink.
I understand you think that I have some fear of robes. But I don't.
You should fear the one I'd send after you.
I don't think I will. Not really. I've faced storm and wind. I've faced death itself and the path to the great beyond, and I turn my back and I walk back here. I think someone who is still ever presently mortal. I don't think I need to fear him. As he's saying that, he's leaning forward just a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more.
She's trying to hold her ground, but if Maxim's watching, her whole back has tensed up. I'm not that person anymore, Silva.
2 years is hardly the amount of time needed for someone to change so thoroughly. You're trying to take on a different name, whatever. You're trying to cover up who you were before getting out from D'Artez's nose. I understand, but you are still at my side.
He actually takes a step back. This conversation's over.
No, it ain't.
What else do you have to say?
You see attention only slightly, but it does leave his shoulders for a second. I am happy to see you are safe, regardless of what you think of me and what I've done for you. It is still good to see you are okay.
That why you glared at me while we were in there?
I gotta put on a face for people. I gotta make them think that I still think highly of you. That I don't think the world revolves around us. If they think that you can be hurt through me, they think that I can be hurt through you. I made just as many enemies as you did. I'm not turning you into a target.
Oh, I heard about your hand.
Yeah. It's feeling better.
Midnight help you?
Nah. Midnight took care of his own business.
How'd he get out scot-free?
Kind of pauses and he glances over where Midnight's just having a raucous time. He bent knee. He lied like his life depended on it. And somehow he was better at it than I was.
D'Artez tried to pull you two in.
Technically, he did. Only technically.
The moment he starts laughing, she's backing up more.
You know it to be an unconditional response. Or not that it just happens, but he's holding his face and he's trying to get control of himself. But it scares you. And you feel Maxim move up closer. Not all the way to you, but his presence is closer. And he holds up a hand, just like waves it slowly.
You done?
He's insane.
Isn't that the pot calling the kettle black?
I'm a few holes of a sailing vessel, but I'm not crazy like him. He looks at the world like he expects it to bend. The world to bend. You and I, we know better. You don't do that.
I heard he wasn't always like that.
Been that way as long as I've known him.
I spoke to somebody who knew him when he was younger. He ain't been like that.
Good for them. He's like that now. Considering his age, he's got time to have changed. Become something else. Something more, but seeing himself as beyond what he is.
So you're saying he's like my father? Good to know.
Technically speaking, I think your father is lesser than him. Not because your father is not seeing the world the same way, more that your father tucked himself away.
He took care of the family.
No, I meant recently.
Recently? What'd he do recently?
He took a sit-in with D'Artez. I didn't hear it.
He's working with him?
Sit-in. I don't know what's going on between them. All I know is that after he spoke, he pulled himself off the face of the earth. Off the face of, I'd say.
He and my mom have both gone missing.
Between you and me, I think he paid your pa to skedaddle, make himself scarce. Doesn't want a tarnished image of the past ruining his bright, pleasant, war-winning future.
Things haven't changed much since I left.
Like I said, it's been 2 years, but not much changes, darling.
I did.
I'm sure you did. Keep telling yourself that. He gets himself a drink, and he steps away.
Fidget, does a quick back step, the backwards running before heading right over to Maxim.
You take about 3 steps back, and Maxim is there, just wrapping his arms around you, pulling you into his chest.
I recommend you stay away from him, Maxim. The best you can.
You okay?
He still thinks I'm his. He didn't take no for an answer.
It's not how that works.
Crazy Maxim, he's absolutely crazy. Don't want anything to happen to you because he decides to try something. I know you can hold your own.
I don't want anything to happen to him because he tries anything crazy either.
We just have to make it past the 3 days. We just have to make it past the 3 days.
Breathe.
And we'll never see him again.
Breathe.
At this point, Aurelius has returned the greatsword to himself and is walking over to Fidget.
She's having a mild panic attack in Maxim's arms.
Hey, little soldier.
She looks up.
Keep that chin up.
Did you find anything that you like to help with the next 3 days?
I don't need anything.
You sure?
He looks to his hand. And then he looks back to Fidget. I'll be fine. Worry not about me. You have to survive the next 3 days. What happens to the rest of us does not matter.
To you, it doesn't matter. To me, it means the world.
I am not the world.
You're my family. Or has that escaped your knowledge? Aurelius, we are more than just traveling companions. I am more than just your tutor in teaching you how to fight like me. I see you like a brother.
And for the next 3 days, you shouldn't. Treat me as an asset, a tool. Whatever you need to survive. His eyes... This is important.
Okay, sorry.
His eyes... You have never seen his eyes like this before. It's like this is a response. This situation reminds him of something deep. And how he's acting. What's your passive insight?
Mine? Is 16.
This is the look of someone who doesn't want a repeat of what happened last time. This is the look of someone who feels guilty for living.
You got this, Aurelius, okay?
I know I do.
I said we. Said we got this. Not just you. Not just me. Not just Artemis. Not just Serenity. We. Not just Maxim. Not just Velenor. Not just Tank. We've got this. Okay?
He smiles. Puts a hand on her shoulder. And just kind of... It's a prayer, but it's not a prayer in Celestial like it should be. It's a demonic prayer.
Well.
And to anyone who can understand it, it roughly translates to can't count on the dragons that I've slain.
It is translated in your head, Fidget.
She blinks at Aurelius and tilts her head, going, "Dragons?"
Aurelius raises a brow. You understood that?
I had a little help.
It's complicated, he says. Remind me to tell you of the undead chapel, he says, tapping her shoulder and returning to his post. And before he walks off, he turns back and says, "Oh, by the way, embrace it."
My fear?
Fear is what helps people survive. It is not in being unafraid that helps people. It is in overcoming it.
Sir, yes, sir.
Well said, but remember not to let it overwhelm you either. Either of you, Maxim says, looking between the two of you.
Fidget kind of just turns to Maxim and rests her head against his chest.
Aurelius just nods at Maxim and just kind of quietly says, "Fear is a tool. Use it well." And he returns to his post.
You are back at your post. Pedisu! You walk up to the boys.
Wanna light him on fucking fire?
Hold on. Before we go on, quick wellness check. Everyone doing okay?
I'm doing
Yeah,
okay.
I'm great.
I'm doing fine. I'm not. I'm having a negative reaction, but I'm not having a negative reaction. Does that make sense?
You're having a negative reaction because he's a fucktard.
Yes.
All right, I'll be back. I'm gonna pick up my partner.
No worries.
Okay.
Give me soda while you're out there. No.
I just wanted to check in, make sure everyone was doing all right. That can be a lot for all of us, and I just want to make sure everyone was okay.
Please let me kill him. Please let me kill him. He reminds me of an ex. Please let me kill him.
I designed him after my ex.
So yeah, he's the sort of person who has the personality of, oh, can we please put boot through face, please? And hopefully I've been playing it in a way that makes it so, he remains as someone who is disliked.
Oh, yeah.
But not overwhelmingly so.
No, it as the person who had to RP with him, I'm okay. And you played it how I saw him.
Cool. Just wanted to make sure that you're all doing all right. So, Serenity, you walk up on the boys.
What the Okay. So, just a reminder for me, what the fuck did Velador and Tank do as we were walking over, to fuckwad over there?
You saw Tank flick something out as he was showing it to Velador, and Velador looked like, oh, what? And he, as you walked past, he looked at you and was just like, this is so cool! He was having a boys moment.
Do I dare ask, or do I just pretend that I'm not seeing this?
Seeing what? As you look it over, you can kind of get a better view of what he's actually looking at. It appears that he has been handed a quarterstaff. And he looks over at you, and Villanor just has this bright-eyed look of just look, watch. And he takes it, and you can see there's other bits to it that has it looking like it's a walking stick. with like a curved head of a, you would guess is probably a crow by the look of it. And he takes it and he puts his hand on the crow and then like snaps it forward, and it has this bit that just pops out and like slides a scythe. He just looks at you, looks at you, is like, isn't that cool or what?
What in the almighty heavens?
I don't know.
I'm gonna chalk this up to boys with the toys and leave it at that.
Actually, Villanor points over. She recommended it.
I'm gonna chalk this up to people with their toys and leave it at that.
Okay. Did you need something?
First of all, still gonna call you a coward. Doesn't
What
matter
do?
the reasoning.
What do?
Pointing to Tank.
What do?
We went down with our competition that you bailed out of.
Had to leave.
I wanted to see which one of us could drink.
We
I'm going to give you hell regardless.
we drink later. Celebration of fidget life. Fidget live.
Either way it works. In terms of, like, the word he uses.
Right.
I actually need to talk to you. In private, preferably.
Me?
No.
Oh.
She's pointing at Veldor when she says that.
Oh? Huh? Villanor just kind of nods.
Regarding the incident.
Which incident?
Last night. He's looking at him desperately, just like, please do not make me out both you and me in front of your brother.
We'll talk over here. Kind of puts a hand on your shoulder, gently pushes you away. And said brother's just looking at you, squinting suspiciously, but can't do anything because he doesn't know what's going on. And so he goes back to messing around with one of the things. He pulls out another one, like, flicks it, turns into something bigger.
God damn it.
I love Tank.
Boys with
I
their
love this fucking
toys.
dumbass so much.
So you take him off to the side.
Okay. Regarding my little actions last night when I was wasted out of my mind, I apologize.
For?
Very much. Have you already forgotten?
No.
Now she looks confused.
Were they not real?
The stuttering of more embarrassment than actual I don't know, but it sounds like I don't know. I just figured that probably wasn't something you wanted. My voice started cracking, and I wasn't trying to have it crack, but it still fits.
It still fits, yeah. I'm still figuring some things out. I'm not good at I've committed to what I'm doing as a druid, but I've never been as good with people.
All right, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Welcome
I
back.
appreciate that you're back. I'm allowed to keep this voice while talking. Let me rock.
Who is talking?
Velinor.
Velinor.
I really think you and everyone else in the party heavily underestimates how good I am with people.
You probably have more people experience than some of us.
She looks at him.
I have some experience. being readied for something greater than I was, but then I was brought into a life where I was even greater than that. So I'm still getting used to a lot of things.
I really don't like how similar that sounds to my circumstances. She shudders. Also, I'm good at conversing with people. That does not mean that I am good at... She just gestures between both of them.
That is why it is an open road. If you were expected to do it alone, I'm sure that'd be something different, but it takes two to do this, right?
Yes.
So just remember you're not alone in this. Because I don't know what I'm doing either.
Okay, maybe I'm just overthinking this. So you didn't mind it?
No.
She looks dumbfounded.
No, I was just very confused. I'm still very confused. I'm kind of me. I'm not exactly the person you go and look and go, I want that one. I'm like,
Except you are, considering.
okay, but I'm not the person you look at and go, I want that one.
Except you are, considering.
Except that I'm not the person you look at and go, I want that one. We're going to keep going in circles if you keep disagreeing with me.
I can say the same to you!
Stop disagreeing with me!
Then start agreeing with me!
I can't say something that's not true about myself.
But I can say something that's true about you.
That you think is true about me.
And you think that's true about you. So here we are at an impasse.
It wouldn't be an
What
impasse.
did I walk into?
Valinor
Couple
and
squirrel.
yeah. Look,
I just walked into a fucking circle jerk. What the hell?
Look, just take it slow, okay? Just can you promise me you'll do
That's
at
okay.
least that?
Well, yes, I'm not gonna try and jump your bones.
It's very hard to do. My bones are inside my body.
Do you not know what that means? I think fucking Zar just jumped!
I did not, but you know what? I'll say that I did if it makes you feel better.
I was the one that was trying not to laugh.
All I heard was very muffled, and I couldn't
That
tell
was
who
me.
it came from.
That was me.
Okay.
See, I actually genuinely laughed.
Yes, he did.
Oh, God. Do you not know what that means?
Are you going to roll the bones and consult the forefathers?
Come here. Okay, come here.
Leans down.
She's gonna lean in and whisper what that means in his ear, just for the fun, cinematic, cartoony bullshit.
Leans back, squints, looks at you, points at himself.
I said I'm not gonna do that. Why? What?
I can be confused. Why me?
Have you seen yourself?
I have all of the charm of Parsnip. Paris dying in the background.
First part is actually that's probably Serenity as well. I'm just laughing.
Suddenly you just
It's
hear.
a charming.
Suddenly you just hear a tank come over. What are you guys talking about? What talking about?
There's a charmingness to that kind of. She gestures to him.
Him? Kind of looks at Velinor, looks at you, looks at Velinor, looks at you, squints at you slowly.
Why are you squinting at me? What did I do?
Him? Really?
What are you asking?
Really? Looks at Velinor.
Yeah.
Her?
What?
He kind of blinks and shrugs, like, I don't know what you're... Like, they start speaking in Orcish.
And
She
Fidget's
just
not there to
sputters.
translate. Woo!
And, like,
I can't understand either of you.
and Velinor holds up a finger, and they keep talking, and then Tank... And then all of a sudden, his finger curls, and he's, like, kind of, like, looks away slowly, and Tank... Let me do it this way. You can understand bits of pantomiming. You can understand brotherly teasing. As Velinor is being pointed at, and you can only hear laughter from Tank as Tank is laughing at him.
Good lord. I feel like I just watched you get mocked directly in front of me.
Velinor says something in Orcish. Tank shuts the fuck up. And says something. You get the impression he's saying, you take that fucking back. And Velinor looks like he's about to take a step away. And Tank, like, grabs him, like, puts him in a hole, just like, no. And Velinor's not fighting it. He's just, like, dangling there, looks up at him, and just has this smirk of someone who knows too much.
Oh no. Already very quietly, fight.
I'm in second role.
And Tank just kind of looks at you slowly, looks at Velinor, and Velinor suddenly is like, wait, hold on. But he lets go of his brother and just kind of gently pushes him away, brushes him off, points at him with this angry look on his face. But Velinor holds up his hand as Fidget walks over, and Velinor and Tank quickly look over at Fidget and kind of notice the state of her, and kind of both immediately go up and in unison in Orcish say, "What happened?"
He will reply in Orcish, broken Orcish, but Orcish, that Silver Tongue is like how he always is.
Sorry, you looking lost as fuck.
I tried talking to him to be civil.
And?
I'm his, according to him.
Tank looks uncomfortable
She takes a very, very deep breath.
and is baring his teeth.
I told him no.
I'm going to fucking...
Tank reaches out and puts a hand on your shoulder. It's not like comforting hand. It is a staying hand. Do not like it. But he... useful. Unfortunately.
He had one of his laughing fits.
Low on medication.
Oh, he got a drink afterwards.
Probably best for nerves. Stay back. Don't... You...
He said he will keep his hands off me for the 3 days.
Break
His
them
words,
after.
not mine.
Tank just very plainly says, break them after.
Hank, you still work with this guy.
Don't have to like.
Look, I need to clear my head a bit, and Tank, I'm gonna need your help for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're choosing him
Sure.
over me? Serenity just puts her hand to her chest and like the mock.
No. Puts a hand on your shoulders like different. Lead.
She'll start walking, and so Serenity can still hear it. Goes, I need to see if I can still fly.
I'm sorry, what?
Does Aurelius hear that?
You hear
way!
that? Yes.
Serenity's falling after it! No way, I gotta see this!
Aurelius just raises a brow, like, this is gonna be interesting.
Razor nods and gives a little nudge to Aurelius and just like, it's not as complicated as you think, but it's fun to watch.
She just walks to an area with a high enough roof.
There's like a scaffolding sort of area. Basically, you'll have to go back into the warehouse, which they let you do. You're not prisoners here. You're not being held
Oh
here.
yeah, no.
And Vince Sterling knows you're not leaving.
Yeah, so she's.
Aurelius will actually follow this time.
Of course, I imagined you were going to actually see what's going on with this fucking shit. And
I'm not sure if Razor's coming with, but like
he does. His job is to shadow, and he's shadowing.
Fidget will walk to one of the sides of the warehouse and look at Tank and turn to stop. Stops, turns, looks at Tank, going, "When you're ready."
Tank will kind of like get into a position and kind of pause for a second, take a deep breath, and you see him like tense for a second and kind of do like almost like a starting stance before he jumps, like bolts off to the side, just peels off and slides to a halt, puts his hands together and holds it down, nodding to you.
Fidget, the moment he starts running, Fidget does as well, running a beeline to Tank before, right when she gets to him, her foot lands right on his hand that he's got out, his hands that he's got it stretched out for.
With a yep, he grabs her foot, helps her basically lean into him, and then launches her up about like 15 feet for her to grab hold of some of the scaffolding and pull herself up as she just gets launched upwards.
And she pulls herself up to sit on the scaffolding with a bit of a laugh, going, "We still got it, Tank."
Yeah.
I want to try this.
Okay.
I'm probably too big for you.
No, come.
Running stat, Serenity. Running stat, momentum.
She nods. Done.
She's like scooting on the scaffolding to give room if Serenity's able to get launched.
We're trying this shit. Let's go.
All right.
Aurelius is taking mental notes of the technique because he's gonna try something after all of that.
Oh yeah, no. You run and you as soon as your foot lands, you realize make an acrobatics check, Paris, because this is
Acrobatics. Oh boy.
This is the first time you're trying this.
Washing machine.
It's good.
I mean,
you run.
yeah,
You were
it's
able
not
to get
bad.
your foot put into it. You kind of pantomime Fidget's technique well enough to get it done. As Tank grabs your foot, leans again, and just launches you up, and you're about at the same area where you're able to grab hold and pull yourself up next to her.
Oh, that's fun.
people used to try to get away from us. And projectile baby face is rather scary.
So, when you look down,
Mm-hmm.
Aurelius has his sword drawn and is spinning it in his one hand, looking to Tank and gesturing for him to move, so that when he's launched in the air, he doesn't hit any scaffolding.
Tank will move.
What are you planning down there?
I want to try something, he says, as he starts running forward.
Okay.
And Fidget would know that he's using the techniques that Fidget has been teaching him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
What would I have to roll to launch up, somersault, and slam down with the sword berserk style?
Athletics,
Man is
acrobatics, second athletics.
Breath of the Wild jump attacking.
You got to do all three.
Athletics 1.
Mm-hmm. Not bad.
Not bad.
And then acrobatics, you said?
Yep.
Oh,
Hey.
Oh no!
Nice.
You're airborne.
Now see if you
And-
can land.
and then
It is one of the most badass moments of Aurelius' entire life. As
And
he
Fidget is full on clapping.
I did something
Sorry,
really
cheering
badass, Bubba. Let me have this.
Bubba, let me have this. Bubba, please.
So what you see is Aurelius charges, and mind you, this is him doing it with one hand. He charges, and as Tank pushes him up,
Mhm.
he flings the sword over him as almost like an anchor in the air. And he spins in the air, and after a few spins, his second hand grabs onto the blade, and with a force of momentum, he pulls it down so that he stops flipping. And should there be a barrel there or something that he just splits in half?
He doesn't need to split a barrel, but I mean, he probably he slams it into the scaffolding as an anchor point and pushes it down like a good solid couple inches.
Fidget is clapping and cheering for Aurelius.
And when he pulls the sword from the ground and returns it to his back, he's immediately pulling out his notebook and putting a tick next to something.
Oh my god.
He's like, "Yep, that worked." and he
Tank.
just walked back as if nothing happened.
Tank.
I mean, you're up there right now. And Tank.
No, he didn't want to go to scaffolding.
Gotcha.
I specifically said to Tank to angle himself so he would not hit any scaffolding.
Gotcha. He then you're fine then.
Yeah.
After you're done, he kind of looks to you, shrugs, and you call out to Tank, and Tank just kind of rocks his shoulders from side to side, glances up with a grin, and just kind of very casually. It's like the most lackadaisical. This is just monkey bars for him, as he just climbs his way up, basically just one arm, just pulling himself up, grabbing, pulling himself up, grabbing, pulling himself up, grabbing, until he's right up next to you, pulls himself up, sits next to you. I'm here. I rolled for it. I rolled a natural 20.
I love
He's showing
it.
off.
But yeah, she is beaming a bright smile at Tank, going, "It's too bad we don't have anyone so you can play BOGO."
They do not need Pogo yet.
I'm willing to take a hit. I want to see what Pogo is.
No.
You have to be on the ground.
No.
I will land right now.
No. Explain Pogo.
What weapon does Razor use?
You haven't seen his
I
razor.
believe yeah, he doesn't have a weapon on him right now, I don't think.
Don't check what weapon he has.
I know I gave him one.
Oh, no,
but
he
I
has
don't
a
know if he's
weapon.
got it on him.
Let me pull it up. Razor.
On at the door. What do you want?
I think he's got a rapier.
Da.
Did I give him a rapier?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
He also has a backpack on, which you'd presume has other things in it.
Okay. I just was curious to see if he had anything that Aurelius would just casually start talking about.
The rapier,
But yeah.
possibly. It looks to be special in some way. What way?
Yeah, he doesn't care about the rapier itself. He's talking more about the techniques that a rapier user uses to add to his notes.
Yep.
Which,
Hang
by
on,
the way,
I want to hear this pogo explanation real quick before we switched over.
no, it's
Fidget
fine. It's just kind of a thing he's doing.
Yeah, Fidget kind of leans over Tank, since I can picture it like there's Fidget, Tank's between them, and then Serenity kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And she like leans over Tank, like half in his lap, just kind of casually talking, going, "So Pogo, we used to have to be scary, intimidate people, and that involved us dangling people over the roof by their feet. If anyone were to backtalk us in any way still, we would drop them.
And then Pogo.
And then Tank would yell Pogo and jump off the roof on top of them."
Dangle me right now. She points at Tank.
He shrugs, looks to Fidget, motions to her like, "Am I allowed to dangle your friend and jump atop them?"
If Serenity wants to, there's no stopping her. This is their kind of thing.
Crazy.
Give us your feet, Serenity.
He doesn't even ask for your feet. He just grabs your feet and just kind of stands up. And it takes a little bit of maneuvering to get it so you're not, just flailing lightly, which you're not really. You're just kind of like, okay, this is, you're like, woo, 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 woo.
Yeah, to make it more like how they used to, Fidget takes one of the feet.
Aurelius is just kind of standing there looking up like, if this goes bad.
You actually,
Okay.
as this is going on, you actually hear Razor go, "What are they doing?" Apparently Razor has no idea what they were doing.
Razor, back up. Tank's gonna Pogo.
What's Pogo? He backs up.
Okay,
Okay.
Tank, on the count of 3.
Notably, as Razor backs up, Aurelius doesn't and is readying for anything.
Okay.
So, I want to try and do something with this that probably won't work,
What are you trying to do?
but you never know. Okay, so, we've all played on monkey bars as children, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
You know how there were children who would go to the top, drop down, and land on their feet?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like mid-fall. I want to try and do that and catch Tank.
Make an acrobatics check
This is
first.
going to fail miserably. Yep! Unless you have inspiration in this game, which I don't think you do.
I've always had
You
inspiration
get
in this
one.
game.
You get a
Once
reroll. I've been
per
using
session.
it.
See
most
what
sessions.
happens.
Nope.
Nope.
It's not meant to happen.
It's not meant to happen.
Landed on my spine!
you didn't land
Yeah,
on your
Fidget
spine.
Fidget just kind of goes, "Okay, Tank, on the count of 3. 1, 2,
And
3," and she lets go.
he drops you down. When you hit, you kind of land. You kind of go, oof! It's a little bit more breath out of you, and you're like, okay, well. And then all of a sudden, you just look up and you just see Tank on his way down, and you go, right. As he
Oh God!
Let the pain begin.
wham, and you just hear Pogo. It hurts. It feels like an orc
He's
just.
got to weigh minimum. He's got to weigh a minimum of 200 pounds.
Yeah, it feels like a half orc just fell on your chest. And you just
Okay,
hear,
Tank,
you
it's
just see
time.
Razor looking at this, looks up at you, looks down at this, looks up at you, just like, really? That's what Pogo is?
It works. Okay, we got the job done.
I'm not saying.
Alright.
I don't have
Yeah.
She just wheezed. I don't have enough meat on me for you to bounce enough.
Aurelius kind of walks forward and kind of just like throws he throws his water skin at Serenity. This'll work.
Fidget kind of calls down to Tank, going, "You ready to catch me, big guy?"
Hey.
No, not on top of me.
Yeah, he stands up.
Aurelius looks at Fidget, and he has an evil look in his eye.
Oh no.
You try something, my dude. You're gonna lose your other arm.
I'm not gonna try anything, he says, holding his greatsword out as if it's a platform.
I'm not. I'm aiming for Tank, not the great sword.
Okay, you jump over and you land in Tank's arms, and he just catches you, quickly sets you down on the ground. Kind of look. He looks at the greatsword, looks at Aurelius, and he's like, "Strong."
Aurelius returns the greatsword back over his shoulder.
Oh.
He's very strong, big. Oh, did you want to pogo off of it?
No.
See if he can handle you.
No, sit.
Oh.
Shit.
What?
Go ahead, Aurelia. Hold out the sword. Let's see if you can hold Tank.
I think you popped something in my back.
Fidget helps Serenity up off the ground. Fidget goes over to help Serenity off the ground.
Well, the irony is that my back feels better.
Aurelius is kind of confused by what Tank is suggesting.
Yep.
So he just kind of tilts his head.
Forget.
Aurelius. No,
Forget.
Aurelius. Hold out your sword like you did when you wanted me to land on it.
Okay. He kind of stands in a position that looks like he's holding it over the back of his, like across his back and reinforcing it with his other arm.
Okay, Tank. You got yourself a chair.
Tank will basically move to the shelving, kind of run up it slightly, and then vault off and attempt to sit on the greatsword. Make an athletics check. I'll say that with you bracing it, the DC will be lowered.
Okay.
Because you described the bracing quite well, and I can actually visualize it. No, he lands on it. You don't even like grunt. You just kind of like shift slightly to make sure that he doesn't just fall off immediately. He looks down at it. He's just like, oh, pats the sword slowly. Pat. Looks at you. Looks back to the sword. Looks back.
Where is he on the sword in relation to where he's bracing?
Slightly towards the middle of it. Trying to make it closer to you.
So he's okay. So he's gonna tilt the sword so he slides towards the ground,
Ugh.
and then just before it reaches there, he's launching him.
I'll say, with the 25, you catch him. He's like, oh, strong. See if
There you go.
Tank flips over. He lands on his feet, and he looks down, looks up. He's just like, did not know could do that.
You're learning,
That, he says, returning the sword to his back, is what the paladins used to call an anvil.
Anvil.
Is that... Serenity's like perks up. You can hear her back pop again. Ah!
What'd you say, Serenity?
She said that's what that was, considering she was trained by paladins.
Mm-hmm.
They just said they were gonna throw me.
Oh.
Clearly.
Well, go ahead. You guys go first.
Well, clearly whoever trained you didn't train you well.
There's a twinge, and the smile turns just a little bit faker.
Oh no.
You
So
strong. You strong. Take hit. Good.
Yeah, that sounds about right. He says, returning the greatsword.
Should head back. What crazy get you? Pointing to Aurelius.
He said crazy. I thought he was talking about me, genuine.
Sorry,
He asked. Yeah, no. He asked Aurelius
he's
what crazy
asking
got
what
you.
Fidget did.
No. He asked what crazy's getting Aurelius.
Ah, okay. No, I'm just saying Fidget had asked him the same kind of thing, is what I was meaning.
Oh, yeah.
Aurelius kind of narrows his eyes and says, I didn't ask for anything.
Oh, Oh no. You... freed them?
I think you left it on random chance. That was a mistake.
For crazy?
I
Oh no.
I didn't realize that inaction meant.
Fidget taps Aurelius on the shoulder as she walks by, going, "Have fun."
Fuck you and the horse you rode in on.
Yeah,
Tank.
you're the one with the horse, my dude.
Tank.
The
That's
horse
also not a
appears.
horse.
God damn it. Tank places a hand on your shoulder and he says something in Orcish and then walks away. Owner just kind of steps up.
Stop doing that!
Oh, let him have his moment. He thinks he's being witty.
Did Fidget hear it?
Yes. Villanore's
It
translating.
messaged it to me. Oh, okay, I was gonna say.
Yeah, he's saying it so everyone knows.
Okay.
He's saying the greatest problem you can have is to have something chosen for you by inaction.
Ugh.
Hank's got a brain on him.
Aurelius kind of narrows his eyes,
He's a philosopher.
and he just kind of says, "Can't flee from your fate, I suppose."
And we'll get to that next week.
I was gonna say, before we end it, Fidget moves over to Razor, kind of going, "Don't tell your grandpa we do that kind of thing on the job."
I didn't see anything that needed to be told to him.
Good to see you again, Razor.
You look better than you did before.
She frowns. You saw me that night.
You looked fucked up. When I told you to come in, you ran.
I was expecting to be brought to Dantes for what his dumbass son did.
Me and Pops would have understood, but we might have all been on the run sooner had that happened.
Consider me running, keeping you guys safe for a little bit.
Aurelius kind of narrows his eyes and doesn't say anything. He just kind of returns next to Razor, back in his stance, and I'm not sure what time of day it is in setting, so that will determine what he does next, really.
Makes sense?
I think we were gonna end session here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to the actual planning stage when Kendall's feeling more herself.
Yes. I wanted to make sure that that was a thing to offer to her, considering she was feeling under the weather and she had to drop out.
Mm-hmm.
But we will be able to have plenty of fun with this.
That's fine.
We tried to tell you.
You're like, yes.
I thought Pogo would just drop him and let him bounce, not land on it.
No, the pogo is him shouting "pogo" as he drops on them. He elbow dropped you.
Honestly, I'm just picturing fucking Serenity saying something in Abyssal. No, actually, she's saying it in Giant, so she knows he doesn't speak it.
Does he not speak it?
Sure.
He doesn't speak giant, I don't
Oh, that's not for her to know.
That's
I don't remember.
No, she already knows he doesn't because she tried talking to him in Giant and he looked at her like she grew a second head.
Oh yeah, that's right. Anyways, we're wrapping up session there.
Okay.
Yes.
For those who are watching, thank you for watching with us. This is always a ton of fun. For those who are watching on YouTube, we stream these on twitch.tv/WhatTeamComp on Mondays, starting generally around 8 p.m., but sometimes it can be a little bit later just due to setup and whatnot, making sure everyone gets around and whatnot. Doing it online just means we have a little bit more freedom, but it also means that sometimes life happens. For those who are watching on Twitch, we do also post this on my YouTube, which is Uncommon Guru. You can find it by searching for Cormundum Chaos, or at least you should be able to. I highly doubt that there is anyone who spells Cormundum Chaos with that. Oh, I do. I need to put Cormundum back on the map so that people know how to spell Cormundum. I will fix that next session. I will fix it next session. I'll fix it. Don't worry.
Breathe.
I'm fine. I promise. Thank you all so much for coming out and watching with us. It is always a great time to spend with these great friends. They are absolutely fantastic and wonderful. It's lovely. I will also make sure that links to my friends' social medias, some of the ones that they've had me put on to the links, will be in the link to the YouTube video down below in the comments. And until next week, we have been WhatTeamComp, and we will see you all next time. Bye-bye!
Uh,